World Underneath. Every World Underneath story released before the 4.0 update. Number 1. Lonely Flame. Chapter 1. The One Left. Someone knocks. Zane opens the office door to find William's girlfriend, Sienna, standing outside. She manages a pale smile and holds up a box. "This is for you, Zane." A martyr's badge sits inside it. It's very conspicuous on the velvet cushioning. It reminds Zane of the spilled blood that night at Mount Eternal. Zane is silent for a moment before he steps aside to let her in. "I've been thinking, but I just can't accept it," Sienna says as she sits across from him. She cradles a cup of hot water in her hands. "William was always so busy after he joined the evil special unit. But he would always come home after he was done with work. Now..." Her hand clenches around the cup as her lips tremble uncontrollably. "If I don't see his badge, I can tell myself that he's still at work and just hasn't come home yet." Wiping away her tears, Sienna puts down the cup, gently pushing the box towards Zane. "Keeping this with me will only serve as a constant reminder that my William will never return. I can't take it anymore." Zane's expression becomes more solemn. After a while, he nods, opens the drawer closest to him, and puts the box inside. Sienna bows and says, "Thank you." As she prepares to leave, she glances at the swaying tree branches outside. "William told me that you and Dr. Noah would return to university together every year during first-year admissions. He was always too busy to go. Zane, if you see Dr. Noah this year, please tell him William said hi." Chapter 2. Review. On the first day of school, Dr. Noah is already waiting at the entrance to Skyhaven University. The soon-to-be retired professor stands as straight as a pine tree. "Good morning, Dr. Noah." At Zane's greeting, Dr. Noah smiles. He looks and pats Zane's shoulder. "Well, it's just the two of us this year. Will was too busy, and now you are too. I wonder who will come with me next year." His expression changes as he sighs. "That boy, Carter. Never mind." "William sends his regards," Zane says. "I'll also accompany you every year from now on." "That's nice to hear, but nothing is more important than the patients," Dr. Noah says. The two of them enter Skyhaven University and head to the auditorium. Many students are going the same way. Still wearing the innocent excitement of being newly admitted, their steps are lighter and faster than Dr. Noah's and Zane's. Soon enough, they get ahead of the crowd and disappear. The two push open the main door of the auditorium to find several seniors setting up the venue. A banner reading, 47th First-Year Medical Student Oath Ceremony, hangs above the stage. Seeing Dr. Noah and Zane approaching, a smiling young man with a staff badge around his neck jumps up and down from the ladder, runs towards them, and bows. "Hello, Dr. Noah. I'm new. I heard from my seniors that you'll also be here for the oaths." "I'm here to reminisce," Dr. Noah replies. Then turns to Zane. "This is your senior, Zane." The young man looks surprised. "You were the legendary 35th academic god that we all pray to before exams, and now I get to finally see you in person. Many of us look up to you as a role model, me included. Can I take a picture with you later?" Zane is taken aback by the request, but eventually nods. As they talk, soft but solemn music begins to play in the auditorium. A large number of first years enter the hall in an orderly manner, standing and waiting for the ceremony to begin. The young man bows to them again and goes back to the stage to adjust the microphone. Dr. Noah takes a step back, making way for a few students to pass by. "I will have the utmost reverence for human life, maintain a sense of duty and dignity in practicing medicine, and adhere to good medical standards. The oath begins. The newly admitted medical students look on with determination. Their eyes sparkle under the morning light. Dr. Noah looks at Zane, recalling how many years ago he watched this man participate in the same ceremony. As a first-year student, Zane was younger than anyone else. His presence alone made him stand out. When he raised his hand to take the oath, his composed and steady demeanor made Dr. Noah wonder how far this young man could go in the field of medicine. The oath ceremony ends. The students, imbued with the responsibility and honor of taking their oaths, leave one by one. Dr. Noah leads Zane to the cafeteria through the excited crowd. William and Carter were like this too. Dr. Noah can't help but get caught up in the moment. He shakes his head and changes the topic. Never mind. I heard the cafeteria has sweet and sour ribs today. Do you want to grab a bite? Zane smiles. All right. Near the end of the cafeteria is the towering research building. Three students wipe their mouths, run past them, and mutter about their bacteria being dead. Startled sparrows fly over their heads from the treetops. Dr. Noah looks up at the building, lost in thought. Zane, have you heard of the rumor, the ghost in the office? Zane frowns, a little exasperated. These kinds of unscientific rumors are everywhere in the School of Medicine. Indeed, Dr. Noah says. His gaze lingers on Zane for a moment before he chuckles. I wonder who started it. Chapter 3. Heart. It was probably in the year 2040, when the main cafeteria of the university had just been renovated. Dr. Noah got a soup and chose a place to sit. His phone vibrated twice. It was a message from the dean of the medical school. I read the report Zane submitted. The theoretical model is quite good. A lot of students have tried to explore the uses of protocols before, but their ideas were limited by the methods. They couldn't fully understand it either. I can't say for sure that Zane will make progress, but his report makes me feel his approach is worth trying. Then there was another message. Your student has great ideas and seems to be quite bold. Dr. Noah didn't hide his pride. Of course he's good. I chose him. He put his phone on the table, intending to finish reading a paper he had started the day before, but the noise from the neighboring table got his attention. A security guard was sitting with 3 serious cafeteria ladies, all holding spoons. The guard, also solemn, waved his hand and began to talk. I'm telling you, there's something fishy going on in the research lab at the medical school. Really? I see the kids from the lab come to eat every day. They seem fine. The problem isn't the research lab. The security guard knocked on the table, speaking with an air of mystery. I'm telling you, when I went on patrol on Monday... What happened? You know how a lot of people stay late in the research labs there? It's not a big deal. I just remind them to lock the doors when they leave. But on Monday, I saw everyone leave. When I was locking up, I heard... Heard what? I heard the swishing sound. It scared me half to death. I couldn't even figure out what it was. Are you sure you didn't just scare yourself? There must have been a student still in the lab. I thought so too, so I checked again, but there was no one. Really? Yes, really. I looked everywhere, and I couldn't see anyone. I was about to turn off the lights and leave when I thought I heard a voice. But you said there wasn't anyone. That's why I said it's totally abnormal. You guys have no idea just how many skeletons there are in the research lab. What if one of them actually came back to life? Oh, stop talking nonsense. The cafeteria ladies stood up with furrowed brows and returned to their stations. Losing his audience, the security guard prepared to leave. He turned around and saw Dr. Noah looking at him. Dr. Noah, I said what I said, but I don't think there's anything wrong with the medical school. He smiles. Dr. Noah waved his hand. signaling the guard not to worry. At the front of the cafeteria, Zane had gotten his meal and was trying to find a place to sit down. Seeing him, Dr. Noah beckoned Zane to sit next to him. "Dr. Noah, we can proceed with the next experiment tomorrow," Zane said. Those were the first words out of his mouth after taking a seat. "Stick to your plan." Dr. Noah didn't ask for more details. He had been closely following this project. He knew Zane never slacked off for even a second and had double-checked, triple-checked the data. He understood the importance of this project to Zane and trusted that he had it under control. As he ate, Dr. Noah remembered something. "Tuesday morning. Did you miss the exam?" Zane's hand paused for a moment. A hint of embarrassment flickered in his eyes. "I'm sorry." "If you didn't take it, you won't get a score. The med school won't give you special treatment just because you're you." "I know. It's my fault for missing the exam. I don't deserve to have a score." "Zane?" Dr. Noah said, looking at the faint dark circles around his student's eyes. "I know you're taking this project very seriously and you're committed to your studies, but don't wear yourself out." After a moment of silence, Zane put down his chopsticks and said softly, "Dr. Noah, I'm not tired. I just want to move on to my clinical rotations as soon as possible." Dr. Noah nodded. He understood, yet couldn't help but sigh. This child was too mature for his age and carried too much on his shoulders. He wanted to say something to comfort Zane, but in the end, he said nothing. Thursday night, Dr. Noah stepped out of the research lab. He greeted the patrolling security guard and was about to leave when he saw the lights were still on in his office. It then occurred to him that a few days ago he had given the keys to Zane, allowing him to access the research reports he had completed several years ago at any time. Through the glass, he scanned the room for a moment before spotting Zane. Zane was sitting behind a human model, reading a paper. The security guard didn't see him, so he turned off the lights and locked the door. Zane looked up in the darkness. It took him only a few seconds to accept his situation. Then he shook his head. Holding the book, he walked to the switch and turned the light back on. In the corridor, the security guard, startled to see the light is on behind him, shivered as he turned around, mustered his courage, and headed back toward the office. Noah sighed and made a detour back to the office, taking Zane, who was still reading, out of the office. Walking with Zane to the entrance of the research lab, Noah thought back to the first time he saw him at the oath ceremony. He had mentored many students. Among them were many who were hard-working as Zane. They all got into medical school because of their dreams. Looking at Zane, he remembered a rumor he heard. "I heard your parents were also doctors. You chose the medical field to follow in their footsteps, right?" Zane smiled. "Yes. Even the bedtime stories they told me during my childhood were about the hospital. Most of the things at home that I could use to kill time were medical textbooks, too. So, I was influenced by them." "Is there another reason?" "No." That was way too quick of a response. "Besides, the way you're obsessing over this doesn't seem like there's only one reason." Zane was quiet for a long time. The sound of his footsteps carried away by the wind. Just when Dr. Noah thought Zane wouldn't answer him, he spoke up. "It's also because of someone." Dr. Noah kind of expected that. He stopped walking and turned to look at his student, who rarely opened up about his feelings. He saw Zane standing alone in the first snowfall of that winter. "I don't want to be incapable of doing anything again when I become a threat to her." Chapter 4. Oaths. A few days later, Dr. Noah received a call from the dean of the medical school. He sounded displeased. He massaged his temples as he went to the dean's office. As soon as he opened the door, he heard a quiet voice ask, Why did you destroy your part of the experimental data, Zane? Zane stood in the middle of the room, silent and expressionless. Sure, it doesn't affect others, but it could have helped this project achieve its purpose faster. The Dean stepped closer to Zane, his fingers tapping on the desk. There was more frustration than anger in his voice, the kind that came from a fellow researcher. I remember you worked hard in the lab, for weeks. Did you think about how erasing your data means all your efforts have gone to waste? I know it wasn't an accident. Explain yourself. Behind Zane, his senior and lab mate, Carter, started to speak. As long as we Quiet, boy. Dr. Noah pushed Carter behind him. I'll handle this. Let the students go first. Thank you, Dr. Noah. Zane walked over to the flower bed and sat down next to Dr. Noah. He chuckled at Zane's thanks. I told the Dean about you wanting to leave the group too. If you really want to thank me, write fewer negative comments about me in your dissertation acknowledgements. You're very brave, Zane. Worried that the Dean's words might affect him, Dr. Noah added, Not everyone is willing to abandon research they put so much effort into. Dr. Noah, this project is about the application of protocore energy in interventional cardiology procedures. But during the experiment... Zane closed his eyes and shook his head. He took out the only remaining image from his data and handed it to Dr. Noah. The picture was a heart that was mostly covered in black crystals. To be precise, it looked like a human heart, beating and growing out of black crystals. Chapter 5. Trick. Dr. Noah's thoughts returned to the autumn of 2047. The students, having just attended the first year old ceremony, finished their meals and are about to attend the first class at Skyhaven University School of Medicine. He and Zane have also finished eating and are taking their trays back. Still savoring their meals, Dr. Noah walks out of the cafeteria with Zane. The sweet and sour ribs this year aren't great, but no matter how bad the food is, I always want to eat here when I come back. Once I retire, I'll leave Lincoln City. At the front gate, Dr. Noah turns around and pats Zane's arm. When you're free, I'll take you to a restaurant near my home. The food there will be delicious. As soon as he finishes speaking, his phone rings. Glancing at the caller ID, he sighs. And that's why doctors should never say they're free. Then, with a serious expression, he starts walking away to answer the call. Dr. Noah, I'll drive you back to the hospital. After the call ends, Zane walks with him to the parking lot. As they pass the flower bed outside the research lab, Dr. Noah remembers something important. Have you visited her? Zane pauses, then he says, Not yet. Are you afraid? No. He shakes his head, his voice steady. Dr. Noah gets out of the car in front of Axel Hospital. He watches as Zane drives away. When he disappears into the traffic, the elderly doctor slowly turns around. For some reason, that kid always feels surreal. It feels as though, despite standing in the crowd, he would never be a part of it. He remembers that night when a single light glowed in the campsite during a blizzard in the Arctic. He remembered the lonely figure leaving in the cold wind the next day when the experiment's data were destroyed. Perhaps the path the young man walks has only heavy snow and level ground. He's destined to walk alone. As his teacher, Dr. Noah can only hope that one day a fork in the road will appear before the young man, offering him tranquil respite. Lonely Flame complete. World Underneath 2. Snowy Stairs. Chapter 1. Die in Spring. It doesn't matter if the annual salary is in the millions or if the research lab is top-notch. Without me, Carter, Could Xander Sciences have come this far? What truly drives the development of science is not experiments, but ideas. I'm such a person, and so is Zane. That's why you need him, right? Laughter echoes in the conference room. Carter stands up, leans on the table, and tosses the contract back to the executives. If the medical genius Zane valued these things, why would he accept Axel Hospital's invitation? Can a hospital offer more than our research institute? What do you suggest, Dr. Carter? I didn't get my doctorate degree. With a smile on his lips that can send chills down someone's spine, Carter glances at the institute director asking the questions. Give me the file of cabin 607's patient. Let me try. After a round of New Year fireworks, 2048 officially begins. During the year Dr. Carter decided to quit school, this area of Imperial Ring Park was just a newly abandoned construction site. The property owner declared bankruptcy and turned it out that they had invested in the emerging industry of protocol technology in Skyhaven. The homeowners formed a group to defend their rights on the construction site. Carter and Zane happened to pass by and saved an elderly man who had a heart attack. After the ambulance took the man away, they sat down in the restaurant for a late-night snack, discussing the trending topic of the time, the ethics of applying protocol technology to revive dead cells. At dawn, the door of the restaurant opened again. Zane headed in the opposite direction in the morning fog, and they never saw each other again. Now, vibrant plants have replaced the construction rubble, and Imperial Ring District has been revitalized with the resurgence of Lincoln City. However, Carter believes that no matter how the world changes, Zane will remain the same. He knows this is the path his stubborn junior will take every day for his morning jog. As he strolls through the park, a familiar voice is heard from behind a bush. "But you're a doctor! Please save Pilot!" He already passed away. Following the voice, Carter finds Zane squatting next to a crying child by a bench. The boy pulls at Zane's arm. A stray dog lies motionless in front of them. It's not breathing. "Pilot always played with me. I even bought it cookies." Pilot knows. He's very happy. Zane murmurs. He gently pats the child's head. "But I don't want Pilot to die." Carter laughs to himself and walks over to them, protocol in hand. "Hey kid, Pilot can live again, what's this?" He casually joins in on the conversation. Zane looks up, his softened gaze turning cold at the sight of the protocol. He stands up and stares at Carter's smiling face. This is a part of life. We can't change that. Chapter 2. Yesterday once more. "You're still cold-hearted, Zane. The dog also counts as a life, and the poor kid is heartbroken." Carter followed Zane to the restaurant they visited all those years ago, which is now a fast food restaurant. He squints and looks around as if admiring its rebirth. If someone wants a life to continue, how would you know if you can't bring it back? Shouldn't you try first? Carter remembers the frightened look in the child's eyes when he brought the protocol close to the stray dog. Then again, you're right. Most people don't even want to try. Tell me, is it a natural law, an unshakable moral boundary? Or is it just a comforting phrase people use? His voice drips with sarcasm. "I thought I made that clear," Zane says. He places his phone on the table after ordering breakfast. "I see you haven't changed at all, Carter." No, that's where you're wrong. Xander Sciences has given me a lot of opportunities." Without allowing things to be dismissed, Carter takes out an elegant-looking business card from his bag and slides it across the table towards Zane. "If you had kept going, maybe you would have already broken free from the shackles of natural law," Carter says. "Zane, your talents are wasted at Axel Hospital. Xander Sciences doesn't want to see a genius like you be forgotten. The evil technology you're insisting on is so last year. No one wants an artificial lump that needs to be changed in their hearts now. Protocortec is the golden brick that will pave the way to the future. Carter is confident. The Xander Sciences Research Institute's logo, and the research he's in charge of, will easily catch the eye of top experts worldwide. Zane doesn't take the card. Instead, he shifts his gaze to the window. Hold on to that brick then. If you drop it, your foot won't be the only thing that's hurting. Carter shrugs. He knows moving this iceberg wouldn't be easy. The business card is an opportunity for Zane to reject him. He brings out his trump card. Take a look at this. It's a case from our project. A very rare condition. Carter sends the meticulously prepared medical record of Cabin 607's patient to Zane's phone. Zane doesn't move, so Carter reaches out and accepts it for him. The patient's heart surgery is scheduled for next week. His other organs are in such a terrible state that he may not survive the side effects of this treatment. We're at a loss. Why don't you take a look? Knowing Zane can glean insights from abnormal data in the medical record, he doesn't provide any more details. As expected, Zane looks away, furrowing his brow in barely disguised displeasure. Are you unsure of what I do? If that's the case, Xander Sciences wouldn't have kept him until now. Smiling, Carter nods. That's why we need you. My skills are nothing compared to yours and Dr. Noah's. I can't be as meticulous and efficient as you. The restaurant owner brings out a bowl of sweet tofu pudding and places it in front of Zane. Carter laughs again. Dr. Noah thinks highly of you, you know. He would mention you to me and Will all the time back then. It made us really curious about you before we met. Eating a spoonful of his hot and spicy soup, he continues. You may not like Xander Sciences, but the patient is innocent. Just like that dead dog. He also has his families waiting for them. Take a look, Dr. Zane. It won't violate your medical ethics. Chapter 3. Undying Tree. The person Carter has been waiting for still hasn't stepped through the doors of Xander Sciences, even after Cabin 607's patient is brought into the operating room. 5 hours later, the less than successful surgery forced him to confront the gap between him and the genius once more. They worked on the theoretical model of this research back in school. He even outperformed Zane on this front. Yet when it comes to applying it, things never go smoothly. Where does he fall short compared to Zane? He desperately wants to know what Zane discovered and why he stopped researching it. Dr. Carter, Zane is here. Carter stiffens at the news. He quickly raises his head, masking his frustration. By the time he swivels around in his office chair and stands up, his usual confident demeanor is back. Xander Science's life pods look like enormous capsules with countless intertwined tubes connecting them to the surrounding equipment. Red tubes sucked away deaths while blue ones injected new life. The daily cost of one device could burn through a month's worth of resources in a regular hospital's ICU. Xander Sciences has 15 of these. Outside Cabin 607's glass window, Zane stares at the patient, who's soaking in the liquid, shriveled like a skeleton. Familiar, isn't it? Carter walks up to the cabin's exterior, crossing his arms and admiring the ward that looks straight out of a sci-fi movie. You're late. His heart regeneration failed, so he had to put in a new one to keep him going. How did you perform the surgery? You'll know everything if you join us, though. Actually, you won't struggle with this conundrum. You might be the one most familiar with it. Zane being here means there's hope. Feeling he has the upper hand, Carter teases him. Remember the project we worked on for several years at school? The same one you stopped? I brought it to Xander Sciences. Now it has a name. X-Heart. Zane frowns. Have you conducted animal experiments with it? Of course we completed all the standard procedures. Otherwise, I wouldn't have invited you. When he was admitted, he only had less than 6 months. It's been 2 years now. This is what I offered him, and he's happy to be a pioneer. But I get it. You're the genius here. I only implemented a genius's great ideas. After a moment of silence, Zane speaks again. Have you seen William since then? He died at Mount Eternal. You were closest to him in the team. Carter doesn't understand why Zane has to bring him up. After some sort, he guesses Zane wants to bring attention to his death. Mount Eternal, huh? The view's good, but there was an anomaly with the Wanderers a few years ago. Before he can finish, Zane gets up and leaves. Carter quickly follows him. Wait, aren't you here to join us? Zane keeps walking, pulling out his phone. I'm here to warn you. Hiding a Trojan's horse in the medical record you sent can easily get you arrested. Carter watches as Zane walks further and further away, unmoving as always. His painstaking efforts are apparently worthless in Zane's eyes. In the empty corridor, Carter clenches his fist, unable to hold back his words. Zane, I'm giving you an opportunity. You better consider it. Our job is to save people. If we can control life and death, why shouldn't we? Don't you remember what we sought every time a surgery failed? Give me another chance. I could save him if I had another chance. This is the chance we've always wanted. There is no we, Zane replies. Do you remember how happy everyone was when our experiment worked? It was like a message left by God. And now we can finally respond. Zane, do you believe in God? At the end of the corridor, Zane finally stops and looks back at him, his hands on his coat pockets. You're crazy. Chapter 4. Gone. After leaving cabin 607, Zane walks to the elevator. The sound of rolling wheels come from an unassuming door next to him. Through the small window, he can see a hallway. A metal cart used for waste disposal passes by. There's a lifeless hand poking out from under the white cloths. Make way. A simple-looking couple blocks the cart. The masked researcher sounds exhausted and tries to push the cart forward. Isn't this what you agreed to when you accepted the Institute's donation? Once they select him, we have full usage and disposal rights. He's gone now, so there's no need to play the part of a dutiful parent. The woman tightly clutches the cart's iron rails. She's almost kneeling. But he's our son! Please, let us see him one last time. We promise we won't tell anyone. Just so you know, he came straight from the operating table. He doesn't have a heart anymore. Do you still want to see him? Excuse me, Zane says as he opens the door. Could you leave him with me for a moment? Over the past few months, Zane has become well known at Xander Sciences, so the researcher recognizes him. All Zane wants is a clean room and a set of surgical tools. The researcher hesitates. It's a favor that can be easily granted. Alright, but no more than half an hour. After a while, the young man who had lost his heart finally appears before his parents in a clean, intact state. The father presses his forehead against the wall, his hand tightly clutching the chest as he bites his lip. The mother bends over the bed, her head buried deep in the white sheets. Moments pass, and then Zane hears her muffled sobbing. Son, we've come to say goodbye. In the surveillance room, Carter watches the whole thing through a screen. A smirk plays on his lips as he opens the comms. Zane, do you remember what we discussed before? We talked about it for a long time. In this era of technological advancement, why must we face death? On the screen, Zane slowly turns to the camera. Unfortunately, he's just too far away for Carter to see his expression. My perspective hasn't changed. We will face this eventually, one way or another. Then, Zane glances at the couple. Just not like this. Chapter 5. Snow Depths. A few days later, Zane officially joins Axel Evo Cardiac Medical Research Lab as its principal investigator. The night before, Carter sent him a congratulatory message and told him about the deaths of patient in cabin 607. His name was Felix, only 45 years old. He helped a lot of poor students during his lifetime, giving them a comfortable and affluent life. He also allowed them to participate in our great experiment near the end of their lives. What a shame. Despite Xander's scientists sparing no expense to keep him alive, he still passed away after 2 years. But don't you think this is just the beginning? Zane doesn't reply. Unsatisfied, Carter sends another picture. It's a failed attempt in resuscitating a patient in cabin 607. He lies on the floor outside the life pod, a cluster of black crystals blooming on the left side of his chest like a magnificent dahlia. Zane, if the person lying on this operating table was your lover, would you let her die? After that message, his thought hits Carter like the first drop of rain falling outside the window. He suddenly understands. Why to go through such great lengths to persuade Zane? What he really needs is not a like-minded colleague, but a pair of hands. Ones that can carry out God's mission and allow for God's descent. Zane's hands. Carter remembers that Zane became a doctor because of a girl. A person like him wouldn't join Axel Hospital for no reason. He has to be taking over Dr. Noah's work. If he can see which cases are being transferred from Dr. Noah to Zane, he can find that girl. That's his trump card. And he thought so highly of Zane. As long as he has that mysterious girl, he knows he'll always have those hands. In an instant, countless thoughts surge into Carter's brain like bubbles in a soda can. Maybe that girl is even more interesting than cabin 607's patients, considering how Dr. Noah and Zane seem to be unable to help her. Maybe her value to Ixhart would far exceed that of Zane's. Zane, you should know you're rejecting a path to life's truths. My answer hasn't changed either. I've always believed that this is just a small obstacle. It can be overcome in due time. Happy? Carter tosses his phone onto the carpet and spins in place. His horizons have expanded now that he's changed gears. He pours himself half a glass of red wine in celebration and raises it to the highest point of the city lights as it's soaked in heavy rain. A toast to humanity's greatest dream. In a dimly lit study, Zane reviews the patient records Dr. Noah transferred to him. He sees a name he knows all too well. He recalls the conversation he had with Carter back in mid-school. They sat across from each other at the restaurant. Zane had stared at his senior as he was about to eat. Even if we can avoid this, we still need it, he had said. Now, Zane rubs his temples. He stares at the name for a long time. Then he takes off his glasses, leaning back slowly in his chair. As if time and space intertwined, Carter's indignant voice rings in his ears and questions him once more. Wouldn't you use everything in your power to prevent your loved ones from dying? Of course he would. Zane answered this question countless times in his heart, and no matter how many years have passed, his answer still hasn't changed. He would do everything he could to prevent her death and save her. But the night is long, the fog is dense. If the end of the road is truly what's left, Zane closes his eyes. At least, he still has another option, his last one. And before the storm arrives, he only hopes he can walk a little further on this rugged pass. He could also hold her hand and resist the avalanche-like onslaught of selfish wishes together. Snowy Stairs, complete. World Underneath, 3. Bouquets and Dirges. Chapter 1. Emerald Vines. This one is for Talia. On the trellis are emerald-colored vines. Raphael holds one of them. Soon, this garden full of exotic plants will be the place where Talia and her lover will hold their wedding. Not bad. It matches the design of the necklace I gave her. The garden's owner, Charles, is a jewelry designer. He enjoys gardening in his spare time and has done conservation work for endangered plants and animals. This is how he had met Raphael. Choosing flowers is a psychological experience, Charles says. It's a process akin to someone trying to understand another person. Really? Raphael draws a series of random lines on a sheet of paper. I chose them based on the impression they gave. It doesn't sound as cool. People have also said that giving flowers to a lover is a surefire way to their heart. Charles remembers a girl he caught a glimpse of in Raphael's photo album. If you ever want to do that, you are welcome to pick any flowers from my garden. Stop reading stuff from those weird articles. Charles shrugs and responds with a helpless smile after being teased. He walks back through a path that's adorned in a faint floral fragrance. When he returns, he hears a conversation between Raphael and Talia. Are you really not going to attend? It's my wedding. Nope. The aloof artist continues to doodle. His phone is on speaker, and his responses are quick and simple. If Charles wasn't doing commission for Talia's wedding, he would have believed Raphael. But I finally found someone I like. You said the same thing last time. And how long ago was that? Why are you so stingy with your blessings? I blessed you when you made the pact. Any more would be pointless. What do you mean? Not everyone is as lucky as you. I'm hanging up. Raphael ends the call and hands the sketch in his hand to the jewelry designer. The once chaotic lines are now an elegant yet fancy bouquet. A pencil may not be able to display any color beyond black, but Charles can still imagine the blue that Raphael chose earlier. He carefully takes the sketch and hands over the necklace design. This is from the plan we previously agreed on. The gemstone is Talia's favorite and matches the color of her wedding dress. Before he can finish the sentence, they hear Talia's laughter from Raphael's phone. Raphael's expression changes as he realizes the call is still going. Talia sounds even happier than before. I knew you wouldn't disappoint me. I'll be waiting. See you then. The call actually ends this time. Charles chuckles and ignores Raphael's annoyance. There's no point in hiding if you're going anyway. He points out a few modifications about the gemstone setting to Raphael. You put a lot of care into the details. I'm sure my plan will be harshly criticized. Raphael lowers his gaze and doesn't reply. Charles thinks he's maybe thinking about his lover. Sensing that Raphael has no intention of responding, he changes the conversation topic to the necklace's color scheme. Chapter 2. Wedding. Passing through the archway decorated with emerald vines, Raphael reaches the central fountain. The relaxed atmosphere in the garden makes him sigh, even though it's what he had expected. He picked out 2 suits for today, but after a few minutes, he ended up not wearing either. Instead, he chose comfortable, casual clothes suitable for dancing. which turned out to be the best choice. If Raphael wore a suit, he would have been teased by Talia, the same person who's wearing a simple dress and dancing barefoot on the grass. He's too plain. If he fell into a pond, let alone the sea, no one would be able to find him. Our dear Talia is the most dazzling pearl in the ocean. If you can find her, wouldn't you be able to find him too? At a small round table, a group of Lemurians are whispering to each other. Raphael turns to see a familiar face he hasn't seen since the disaster. He cheerfully plays an ancient Lemurian instrument, a happy melody flowing from his moving fingertips. "Thank your friend for me. His garden is beautiful," Talia says to Raphael after she makes her way through the crowd to him. "He was kind enough to let us hold the ceremony here." Raphael's gaze shifts to the man not far away from Talia. He doesn't mind. "He likes what I like," she says. She spins around in front of him. Her flared skirt twirls, making her look like a graceful swimming fish. "He designed this for me. It's pretty good, right?" "It suits you," Raphael chuckles, recalling Charles's words. The process of choosing flowers for someone is also a process of understanding that person. Maybe the same applies in designing clothes. He's silent for a few seconds. He drinks his wine and pushes the empty cup back onto the table. Raymond is dead. Talia takes a deep breath, a smile blooming on her face. "Then we can all get a good night's sleep for now." "Yeah, for now." She understands the emphasis Raphael puts in his words. Crossing her arms, her gaze wanders over the singing, dancing, and chatting people. "Guess you don't want fleeting happiness." Raphael suddenly turns away. To avoid Talia, he inevitably has to look at the guests attending her wedding. Almost all the familiar and unfamiliar Lemurian survivors are present. The music is harmonious, and the singing is rich, but every smile seems to be covered with a grey veil. Then he hears Talia's melodious voice again. "I'm getting married not because I've forgotten the past, but because I want to live in the present. Look at every Lemurian here. They're all looking for an anchor, a reason to live. I found mine, and others have found theirs," Talia says. Her eyes lock onto Raphael. "But there are still those who don't realize how important it is to have an anchor." Raphael shakes his head. "Lemuria is more important." "Lemuria will always be important." Talia puts down her glass, looking serious. "But what about you? When your own heart is devouring you, is there anything that can pull you back? Can you really let her go?" The light in Raphael's eyes dims at her last question. "Raphael, have you ever thought about your own wedding?" He's silent for a while. Then he takes off the boutonniere from his chest, places it on the table, and turns to leave the bustling scenery that doesn't belong to him. "No." Chapter 3. Gardenia. Freedom, happiness, and rebirth. Charles hangs the shovel back on the tool board, nodding at the light yellow gardenia Raphael has been staring at. "That's what it means in the language of flowers. Are you giving it to someone?" "A relative's daughter." Raphael stands under the courtyard door's eaves, tilting his head to observe the flower petals. "Can you tell me what it means again?" "People believe it represents freedom, happiness, and rebirth. I highly recommend it for the opening ceremony for the school year or a birthday party." "I'll take it." Raphael returns the sample to Charles and walks past him. "Help me arrange a bouquet. I'll take it to her funeral. Her father can no longer give her flowers." "Funeral?" Charles stops counting his tools and makes a mistake on his paper. Wouldn't that be a bit... It's fine, Raphael says. Based on what you told me, it's suitable for a funeral too. Chapter 4. Lament. Raphael crosses the courtyard as it's bathed in a golden glow. He walks through the corridor where Raymond's glorious deeds are being played on a loop on a digital screen. Then he arrives at Raymond's house. Raymond's funeral is being held in the living room. At the entrance, the butler mechanically takes the condolence money from the mourners. He looks stiffly and professionally ahead until Raphael passes him. He narrows his eyes and quickly sizes Raphael up, seemingly surprised by his presence. Raphael ignores these malicious glances and walks straight to the center of the hall where the glass fish tank is placed. He pauses for a second or two in front of the mermaid skeleton inside, then turns to Raymond's coffin and stands with the other. Mom, this is so boring. We were supposed to be on vacation in the Arctic. The child's voice echoes clearly in the hall. Her innocent comment makes the parent cover the brat's mouth in embarrassment, quickly returning to a sorrowful expression after flashing an apologetic smile. After all, she had yet to secure the inheritance she wanted. When it's Raphael's turn to mourn, he steps forward. He leans over the garden and places the carefully selected gardenias on it, making sure its most beautiful side faces the fish tank. In the midst of all the black and white, this bright yellow bouquet is the only burst of color. He claps his hands together and closes his eyes. At a barely noticeable angle, he aligns himself with the bouquet, silently reciting a eulogy. A familiar song begins. Talia stands at the very front of the hall, singing a dirge. Raphael opens his eyes. The dazzling sunlight passes through the fish tank, and the skeleton inside silently gazes at the sky in a forever frozen pose. He knows who Talia is singing for, just as she knows who Raphael came here for. Murderer! You murderer! As Raphael is about to leave, an elderly woman suddenly pushes through the crowd. She rushes out of the hall, pointing at his retreating figure and screaming at the top of her lungs. My boy was only 39! It was supposed to be a time for a birth, a fresh start, but he died because of a stupid, frivolous painter! A painting that doesn't make any sense! Raphael, you killed my son! Like sharks smelling blood in the water, the reporter's cameras instantly surround him. The mourners in the darkened hall look on, excited, yet they also carry the right amount of regret. No one steps forward to intervene. The child who wants to go on an Arctic vacation watches with interest, standing on her tiptoes to take a lollipop from her mother. How sad. Where's her son dead? The anchor that held her up has taken by a dark tide. Raphael calmly looks around the room full of cameras and leaves. Chapter 5. Bouquet. Another week passes. Raphael slips away from his uninspiring new work and Thomas's repeated nagging to visit Talia in a small house in Verona. Talia is admiring a dress. It's one among countless other dresses that her new husband has designed for her. It's entirely black with just a stroke of white. Talia points to the black part of the dress. He said, "This is him." Then she points at the white. "And this is me. What do you think? Interesting, right?" Raphael pours himself a glass of water and takes a sip without looking. Has he ever designed a wedding dress? What do you mean? Talia raises an eyebrow, then she smiles. No, but if you want to commission him, I can get you a family discount. When Raphael leaves, Talia tosses him a small bouquet of flowers. He turns and catches them. I wanted to toss the bouquet to you that day, but you had left early. This is what I had left. Raphael looks down at his hand. An unknown flower sits in his palm, reminding him of someone. On his way back, he sees many familiar faces among the Verona street performers. Those people stand amidst music, color, and dancing bubbles. They smile at him. Raphael remembers what Talia said at the wedding. Everyone was looking for an anchor. It's why they're still here. He waves back, hoping they can make their dream come true. Then he turns around and goes home. Chapter 6. Gloriosa. Are you tired from painting? You don't look so good. Raphael... Charles wraps up the fairy flame lilies Raphael chose and hands them over. Are these also a gift? I think they suit you more. Great. Raphael takes the bouquet. I'm thinking of giving them to someone. Are you giving yourself away? Raphael never mentioned it, but Charles had a hunch a long time ago. There must be someone in his heart that he didn't want to mention. My garden is always open to you. He pats Raphael's shoulder, then sees him and his flame lilies off. The flowers are light, their weight in his hand almost non-existent. He walks for a long time after leaving the garden, but he still hasn't decided whether or not he should give this bouquet away. He hasn't come up with a good excuse either. When your own heart is devouring you, is there anything that can pull you back? He remembers the question Talia once asked and avoids the underlying meaning. Can this flame lily bouquet become his anchor? He's not sure. Under the night sky, the black waves haven't fully rolled in. For now, he still has a chance to get a good sleep. Until he must face the never-ending tsunami in his dreams alone. World Underneath 3 Bouquets and Dirges complete. World Underneath Story 4 From the Stars. Chapter 1 Sweeties. 2033 Summer. 1 salted egg yolk cheesecake and 1 chocolate chiffon cake. Jeremiah, standing by the corner of Sweetie's cake shop, leans slightly forward. His bright eyes follow the girl behind the counter. You've been coming here a lot recently, Jeremiah. Are you addicted to cakes now? Jeremiah's eyes dart around as he reveals a slightly goofy smile. Maybe. 2 boxes of beautifully wrapped cakes are placed in front of him. Jeremiah pays, then pushes the cheesecake back. This is for you. The girl is taken aback, a hint of surprise flickering across her face before she quickly recovers. If you keep doing this, my dad... my boss will say you're playing favorites. He'll be upset you're only treating me and not him. She turns to look at the middle-aged man behind her, who's busy decorating cakes with a piping bag. She turns back and shrugs at Jeremiah. It's a secret den, Jeremiah whispers, leaning closer. This is Jeremiah from the Planetary Shuttle Squad 2, requesting a secret cake exchange with Squad 1 member Bella. Please respond. Over. The girl chuckles, then quickly covers her mouth and whispers, Squad 1 Bella. Message received. Beginning cake transfer. Over. Okay, Jeremiah. Your friend is still outside. Don't keep him waiting. I'm going, Jeremiah says, his tone suddenly a little awkward. By the way, you haven't forgotten about the dinner at my house on Sunday, right? Ding ding ding. The door of the cake shop closes. Xavier, who had been waiting for a long time, glances at Jeremiah. I thought you said you couldn't get used to Earth food. Oh, Jeremiah says, waving his hand. I bought it for displaying purposes. Xavier raises an eyebrow. Before he can say the words Jeremiah knows is coming, Jeremiah quickly pats his shoulder, Come on, teach me how to make some Ursh dishes. You've been researching recipes recently, right? Chapter 2. Home. Bella loves marigolds. I want her to see them when she comes over for dinner, Jeremiah says, holding a vase as he passes by Xavier. He peeks out from behind the orange blossoms. Where do you think I should put it? At the door? By the dinner table? Or on the balcony? After being asked the same thing for the 23rd time, Xavier glances at the door adorned with plants, then at the dinner table surrounded by fresh flowers, and finally at the balcony that can only be described as a sea of flowers. I think there's no space. Really? Baffled, Jeremiah looks around the house he rented a week ago. I didn't think it was this small when I saw it. You could hold it, Xavier suddenly says. Huh? Hold it and give it to her when you open the door. Jeremiah scratches his head. Oh, we're just friends. I don't want her to misunderstand. He turns to Xavier with a playful grin. Have you used this trick before? Xavier glances at him. What? What do you mean, what? Don't play dumb. Jeremiah nudges him. Xavier walks to the sofa, picks up a magazine, and sits down. Fine, don't tell me then. The oven in the kitchen signals the food is ready. Jeremiah insists Xavier stay for the dinner he set up to greet his friend. His reason? It adds a human touch. Wearing oven mitts, he takes out the baked cheesy rice and sits it down in front of Xavier. Bella says that since we've met, we should make a mark in each other's lives. Otherwise, there's no point in meeting. Suddenly, it starts pouring outside. Xavier stares at the drenched sky, and silence envelops the room. Come on, help me taste this. I've been taste testing this for the past few days. I can't even tell if it's good or bad anymore. Xavier looks away from the window and scoops up some rice covered in cheese and tomato sauce. The spoon is connected to the bowl via a string of cheese. It's alright. Needs a bit more salt. Really? Jeremiah frowns, eating a spoonful himself. After coming with the backtrackers to this place over 200 years ago, he still can't fully understand the diverse tastes of Earthlings. But since Xavier suggested it, there must be a reason. He nods. I'm just treating her to a meal. When Isaiah was looking for us before, she helped cover for me. I know nothing can happen between us. We don't age the same way people here do. It wouldn't be fair. As Jeremiah eats, he rambles on, not even realizing the unease hidden in his voice. Don't worry, I don't have any ulterior motives. Besides, I haven't finished my main task yet. I'm the one who has to fix the spaceship's launcher, right? The rain outside is relentless. Through the window, the raindrops seem to be capable of piercing through anything. They crisply pitter-patter as they hit the glass. Xavier puts down the spoon, wipes his mouth, and stands up. Forget it. You haven't fixed it in 200 years. You might as well focus on dating. What? In a flash of light, Xavier disappears along with the newly modified accelerator Jeremiah had on the table. He sighs and takes the dishes back to the now empty kitchen. If someone told him hundreds of years ago, back when the Traceback 2 was riddled with holes from an asteroid as they were in cosmic turbulence, he would face the mundane problem of greasy dishes, he would have laughed. He understands Xavier's indifferent reaction. As the leader of the backtrackers, Xavier must have seen more of his former companions leave compared to Jeremiah. Asteroids, turbulence, and the collapse of wormholes couldn't tear the Traceback 2's team apart. With Xavier there, they managed to break through the universe's most impregnable space-time barrier. Yet, Such an invincible team eventually dissolved into the mundane times of this era, from a loved one handing them flowers. The radio behind Jeremiah switches from its regular program to a news broadcast. The year isn't over yet, but we've already predicted that this will be the heaviest, most widespread rain. It's expected to end Saturday. Sunday will be sunny. It will be perfect for a trip. Let's look forward to a wonderful weekend. He turns off the TV and walks onto the flower-filled balcony. There's a tranquil sunset. No monsters, no fluctuations, and no need to fight in the cosmos. Living like this is the reason why many people left the backtrackers. Maybe those who left just missed home too much. Chapter 3. Waterfall inside forest. After leaving Jeremiah's fabricated home, Xavier walks under the moonlight to a secluded forest on the city outskirts. Behind the dense forest and the signal blocking zone is the largest cosmic signal transmission and reception station. It was secretly built by Lincoln City. He could technically teleport to any place he had been before using his Evo, but he always slows down but when passing the signal station. The blue light on the top of the tower flickers, almost blending in with the starry sky. Apart from that, most of the buildings in the base aren't tall. They're sparsely scattered in forest clearing. Occasionally, maintenance staff would walk around, their whispers echoing in the distance. These faint sounds are as comforting as the cosmic white noise they heard when they traveled through unfamiliar galaxies. His mind travels back to the seemingly endless journey back when he slept in the hibernation pod. He heads deeper into the forest, through a pitch-black valley, walking until no buildings are visible. Then, there, he reaches his destination, the crash site of Traceback 2. The only part of the wreckage is above ground. He pushes away the vines and places Jeremiah's accelerator into the launcher. He lights it with his Evo. Little specks of light float from his hand into the leaves below. Soon, blue electricity starts flowing, and a cold mechanical noise echoes under the starry sky. He sits down in the pilot's seat, quietly waiting for the result. Fortunately, the forests in every space-time sound and smell the same. He closes his eyes, thinking about his home. Some say that from a higher dimensional perspective, time doesn't exist. The past, present, and future unfold in the same space. A person can only see the world before them because their eyes can only perceive the light projected from it. If this is true, then somewhere in the vast cosmos, there might exist a point where light from countless timelines converge. From there, one could see every star that ever existed, from the explosion of the universe to its eventual collapse, and witness every possible ending the world could take under an infinite number of choices. The mechanical roar subsides, leaving the forest in silence and darkness. It's hopeless without protocore energy. He collects his scattered thoughts and opens his eyes to a cascading waterfall of stars in the forest. He raises his hand, as though he wants to catch them. If time really doesn't exist, then within the sea of stars before him, could he see Philos? And his and her little planet? Chapter 4. Catastrophe. A year passes. Jeremiah still hasn't found a suitable power source to start the spaceship. The rented home gradually becomes his real home. After arriving in this era, several unwritten rules were formed among the backtrackers, such as changing residences regularly and avoiding unnecessary contact. after obtaining the identity of a normal person, Jeremiah loses all contact with Xavier. He did look for him many times privately, but in a way, he feels as though this fruitless search might be better. Whether it's because of guilt or not wanting another traitor like Isaiah to trouble Xavier, he doesn't know. Besides, with his current appearance, gloves and an apron, he really wouldn't know what to say if he were to meet his former captain. His days drifting in Traceback 2 feel like a dream from a previous life. Jeremiah's biggest worry now is how to give Bella a ring and invite her to live in this home he built for her. But before he can come up with a satisfactory plan, a 3-day polar night begins. He had a bad feeling about it, all of which comes to fruition when, at 3 in the morning on the last day, he sees a wanderer. It pierces through the skyscrapers of Lincoln City like a meteor, shooting right through the psychological defenses of its citizens. People who have never seen such a monster are captured by death as they are enveloped in fear. They cry as they say their final goodbyes to family, friends, and lovers. Then, they are mercilessly crushed by a wanderer that somehow appeared behind them, becoming a handful of dust. When Jeremiah reaches Sweetie's cake shop, he only sees collapsed buildings and destroyed shop signs. In the ruins, a small marigold is buried under the rubble. He doesn't dwell on it for long, quickly realizing he's perhaps one of the few people who knows how to defeat these monsters. But when he tries to shatter the Wanderer's protocol, as he had done when part of the Order of Lightseekers, he finds no weapons at hand or within sight. This era is far behind the level of technology they had on Phelos. His peaceful life has almost made him forget how to fight. As the monster's roar reaches his ears, he rolls over and watches helplessly as the marigold disintegrates in a dark blue energy wave. In the early days of the catastrophe, he briefly worked with Xavier in the most devastated areas. And standing in the middle of a severely damaged road, Xavier rescued a girl and disappeared soon after. Jeremiah knows that he must have found her. The disaster lasted much longer than anyone imagined. On January 1st, 2035, the Hunters Association was officially established. The President announces in the January 1st agreement that they may have to coexist with Wanderers. The newly rebuilt Azure Square broadcasts this historical moment on a giant holographic screen. Jeremiah is in the crowd when it plays. It feels as if an ancient spaceship has finally landed, and the real Traceback mission has just begun. Chapter 5. Philo. In 2037, Lincoln City mostly rebuilt itself at an almost incredible speed. After mastering the purification and use of protocol energy, it's even more prosperous than before the disaster. Xavier walks around the corner and is hit by a floral scent. He looks up to see a flower shop called Philo. Its golden marigolds spill out onto the city. It's all very familiar. He vaguely remembers this used to be a cake shop. The shopkeeper, carrying a potted plant, pushes open the glass door. His greeting is caught in his throat at the sight of Xavier. I bought this place, so I'm living here now. The backyard is a greenhouse, and the third floor is a workspace. Jeremiah invites his long-lost friend into the shop and serves 2 cups of hot tea. The spaceship launcher is... Did she eat dinner at your place that weekend? Xavier unexpectedly interrupts her with a long-lost memory, leaving Jeremiah somewhat at a loss. Ah, you mean Bella? He scratches his head. She did. and she immediately noticed that I rented the house. Bella said no one would clear out a house only until it's filled with flowers. She knew who I was from the start and said she saw me when she was a child. She also said she'd like to see my real home if she could. Jeremiah touches a small ring he wears on a necklace as he speaks. Then he tucks it back into his collar. Enough about me. How are you? Do you need a new identity? I can get you one. Xavier shakes his head, walking over to the cluster of blue flowers. In the center of 5 petals is a small yellow star. Wavy leaf sea lavender. He hasn't seen one in a long time. I won't lie. I felt quite guilty these past 2 years. It seems like everyone had a reason to give up and leave halfway except you. Well, you did too, but you wouldn't because no one could replace you. We all thought that you could still make it to the end, even if you were the only one left. It's cruel, but sometimes I think those of us who left early can live their lives in peace as long as you're still holding on. You can always choose what kind of life you want to leave, Xavier says softly. It's as if tiny suns illuminate the slightly wilted petals. Have you gotten used to Earth's food? Jeremiah stands up. Captain, can I come back? Xavier looks at him, seemingly thinking his question is unnecessary. Just do what you think is right. By the time Xavier leaves Philo, night has already enveloped the newly built Lincoln City. In the overpass, Xavier looks down at the endless stream of cars and hurried pedestrians. Everyone is absorbed in their journey, and not a single person pauses to gaze at the stars above. Of course, it's late. Everyone is rushing home, just like how all life ultimately returns to where it came from. No matter what he chooses, his fate always remains the same. Xavier, you already found her, right? So why don't you settle down somewhere? As he leaves, Jeremiah's words echo in his ears. His gaze falls on the distant cityscape. Over the years, the light pollution in Lincoln City has become increasingly severe, making it impossible to see anything. He remembers the waterfall of stars he had seen deep in the forest. That's his last memory of his distant homeland. Maybe, this time, he can settle down. If possible, he wants a place where he can see the stars. World Underneath 4, From the Stars, complete. World Underneath 5, Long Lost Treasures. Chapter 1. Submerged Rock. Raincoat is a little restless. He parks the car near an abandoned dock and gets out to open the trunk. An unconscious, frail man, tied up in the fetal position, lies inside. He's none other than Tony, an up-and-coming director who's currently the talk of the town in Lincoln City. He's worth billions and has mysteriously disappeared while writing his next movie script. He had set a limit for himself when he became a white glove for the Ever Group. Never target public figures. This had kept him hidden for many years. But now, he chuckles. He really should renegotiate his contract with Ever for dumping such a large job on him. Putting on his gloves, Raincoat takes out a phone from Tony's body. He unlocks it with the man's finger and opens several recording apps, finally finding what he wants in voice memo. Every audio file has been renamed, probably for ease of access. Each can easily raise this rookie director's rank on Evergroup's execution list. It never ends well for people who know too much. Raincoat's finger hovers over the delete button. All he has to do is erase these recordings. throw the phone into the sea, and dispose of this man. Then his job will be over. But an idea springs into his mind. He plays the first audio file. Chapter 2. Audio file number 1. Mo Art Studio. 5:13. That'll be great if you don't mind. Recording is a habit of mine I picked up at work. It's hard to keep up with the conversation if you only take notes. Did Thomas tell you? The Deepspace Academy introduced me before. Our team is preparing a fantasy-themed film. We want to use Lemuria as the setting. They said you're an expert in Lemuria, and you just returned from a trip. Deepspace Academy thinks too highly of me. I'm just a painter. I don't know anything about Lemuria. There's no need to be so humble, Mr. Raphael. I've seen your paintings. The oceans in your work feel alive. It's very unique. Those are just normal pieces. Forget about them. Anyway, speaking of the Deepspace Academy, I heard they recently organized an archaeological team to find the ruins of Lemuria. Why don't you ask them? They should know much more than me. They might not tell you much though. I heard things don't go too well for them. Anyway, I have stuff to do, so I can't see you off. Bye, Tony. Chapter 3. Audio file number 2. Disappearance. 10:41. The archaeological team? You've got the wrong person, Director Tony. I'm just a handyman. I stayed on the ship and organized the relics during the exploration. I never dived. I really don't know the specifics, and I can only tell you what I saw. The day our ship arrived on, what was it? The 20th? I think Miss Eleanor was the team leader. Her, Fred, Jennifer, and Professor Sean all went down in a submersible. We set up underwater archaeological bases before, the time we can stay in for several days. Communication with the surface had always been fine. The plan was to finish and come back on the Force. But you wouldn't have guessed what happened. The submersible didn't come back until the 11th. A whole week, you see. I wanted to know what happened, but the Deepspace Academy kept everything all hush-hush. Everyone thought that was the end of it. But the day after, I heard... Come closer, Tony. We gotta keep our voices down. I heard Miss Eleanor and Fred left the Deepspace Academy after an argument. They were both senior members, so them leaving caused quite a stir. And on the 3rd day, Jennifer disappeared too. Spooky, huh? It gets worse. That afternoon, when I was clearing up her camera, I found a deleted video clip. Privately altering archaeological records is against the rule, so I immediately tried to contact her. But I just couldn't reach her. I tried contacting the others, and only Professor Sean answered. He sounded weird. Not energetic at all, and as soon as I mentioned archaeology, he hung up. Would you look at the time? I gotta go. I have lots of reports to catch up on because of that video. I'm super busy. Goodbye, Director Tony. Hope your new movie is a box office hit. New audio file clip Memo 1. I was just looking for source material for the film. I didn't expect to uncover a mysterious event involving the archaeological team. I pulled some favors and looked into it. Turns out, Eleanor, Fred, and Jennifer didn't just disappear. They vanished off the face of the earth. It could be because I don't have any investigative skills, but none of them have been home. They haven't responded to messages or answered any calls. No one's seen them leave their house. It's all too suspicious. Creating a Lemurian mystery movie might be better. Missing archaeologists, deleted underwater footage, secrets of the ocean floor. That's quite the synopsis. If I can find out more, I'll have a direction for my script. I need to contact Professor Sean as soon as possible. If he's gone, I'll lose all my leads. Chapter 4. Audio file number 3. Bluefish. 3131. Tony? Professor Sean, it's an honor to meet you. Are you going on a trip? You're all packed up. I hope I'm not bothering you or anything. No, I'm not. You no longer need to address me as Professor either. I'm no longer with the Deepspace Academy. Come in. Thank you. I'll get straight to the point then, Mr. Sean. I'm here about the matter of Lemuria. My team is... I have nothing to say. Everything is recorded in the exploration report. You can ask for it from the Deepspace Academy. I read it already, but I'd rather have a first-hand account from someone who is actually here. It's better for the script. That's why I want to hear your experience when you explored the ruins of Lemuria, Mr. Sean. Is this a test to see if I'm lying or not? I'm a director, not a detective. I can't tell. This is all for the movie script. Even the greatest fairy tales need to be based on reality. Reality? Oh. My sense of reality has changed because of my time in Lemuria. How so? Some things I didn't write in the report because no one would believe them. But if you're making a movie, then pretend everything I say is a story. Please, go on. On the 20th, the day the submersible went underwater, we found a whirlpool. Our navigation and communication equipment malfunctioned, and we lost our way as well as our courage. We struggled for a long time. We were about to give up when, out of nowhere, a school of blue fish appeared. It was a miracle. They must have been messengers from Lemuria that heard our desperation and came to our rescue. They guided us to the ruins. A school of blue fish led you to the ruins. It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? Even though it happened, recalling it feels like a dream, but in the vast, unnavigable ocean was everything beyond our current scientific understanding. Excuse me for asking this, but have you taken any medication recently, Mr. Sean? Ew. It's fine if you don't believe me, but please don't doubt what I've seen. No, I'm not. It's just not everyone gets to witness miracles. It's better safe than sorry. Please continue. I'd love to hear more about the bluefish. The life deer is sentient. Those bluefish accompanied us throughout our trip. They were our guides, beacons, companions, and emotional support. Even now, when I close my eyes, I can still see them. Is it possible that those fish are some sort of Lemurian machines? Like, specifically designed for leading the way for some other purpose? No, absolutely not. They were real fish with their own sorts of feelings, not machines. Fish have feelings? Why would you think that, Mr. Sean? I'm just speculating. There's no particular reason. Okay, let's move on. Could you describe in details what happened after you entered the ruins? I don't really remember what happened after that. All I can say is we saw someone in Lemuria. As in another member of the archaeological team? No, but he was dressed just like us. You mean a fifth person appeared underwater? I'm not sure. I don't know. Anyway, I can't say any more. You should go. Mr. Sean, I'm sorry for barging in today. Before I go though, I have one last question. According to the ship's report, they never lost communication with you. If your communicators were malfunctioning from the start, then who were they getting signals from? New audio clip Memo 2. The School of Blue Fish. Makes for a nice visual reference. Professor Sean's account does seem genuine. I don't think he's lying, but who is the fifth person that he mentioned? And what does it mean he was dressed like us? This is strange. 3 of them are missing, and the remaining one is packing his bags and leaving. Something must have happened. At least the video is close to being restored. Hopefully I can get more from that. Chapter 5. Audio file number 4. Shadow Underneath. 7:51. Hey Tony, it's been 2 years since the last time we talked. You're a pretty good friend, only remembering me when you need something. On top of that, it's such a difficult task. Do you think IT guys don't have lives? Anyway, whoever deleted this video is really skilled. Do you know how long it took me to restore it? I put off 3 big projects, worked day and night fiddling with this camera, and only managed to restore 1 frame. Wait, what was that face? 1 frame is my limit. The memory card was so tampered with. I'm self-taught, so I have no idea how to handle such a high-end tech. This is the best I can do. Here's the phone too. I restored the call history for you. Whoever had this phone before talks really loud. It hurt my ears. Okay, shut up. But you better treat me to lunch sometimes. I should be compensated one way or another for my work. New audio clip, Memo 3. I've seen the restored footage. The 5th person who was dressed like them. It was a skeleton. I really wish it was clearer. Wait, is the skeleton holding a weapon? It looks like a protocol weapon. What's going on? Protocol weapons were only invented in the last decade or so. How could this one have appeared in the ruins of Lemuria? Is it possible the underwater city didn't sink naturally? This is fantastic news. No wonder the phone was deleted. Oh, right, and there's Fred's phone. Chapter 6. Audio file number 5. Conflict. Frederick to Eleanor. 9:18. Hello? Why aren't you answering your phone, Eleanor? I don't care what you're up to. I'm definitely leaving. Nothing ever goes well when it comes to Lemuria. Of course, I have no shame. Those protocol weapons had nothing to do with us, but this matter implicates the Evergroup. Do you think we can handle them? And you felt it too. People have been stalking us ever since we left Lemuria. Sean and Yennefer are naive to think it's a Lemuria's god. But you don't seriously believe such nonsense, do you? I'm telling you, someone's spying on us. The video has been deleted. We left the Deepspace Academy, and we've been hiding every day since. We've gone to such great lengths to avoid being captured. So why can't you change your mind? Eleanor, you're endangering our lives if you keep looking into Lemuria. Sure, you can say you did everything and none of us were involved, but would the people from Ever believe you? Don't be an idiot. If you still have a brain, then leave the Deepspace Academy like the rest of us. Forget about everything related to Lemuria. New audio clip, Memo 4. Fred thinks Ever was the one stalking him in the ocean. That's impossible. Why would Ever need to tail them? It's the deep sea. It's pointless. And Fred clearly said he was going to leave, but now he's missing. Did he disappear on his own? Or did Ever? Law and order is just a fool's dream. Tony, what a coincidence. Didn't expect to see you here. Do you want to talk about Lemuria? Who are you? Ah! The clip ends with a cacophony of noise. A recording pops up at the end of the screen. End of recording. He had dug up the protocol weapon buried deep within the ruins. No wonder he got on Ever's execution list. Raincoat loosens his tie. Just as he's about to toss the phone back into the trunk, a flame materializes on his palm. The phone's shattered screen crackles in the firelight. Nice. I got both the person and evidence in one go. The voice is as silky as brocade. He turns around to see someone in a suit and leather shoes approaching him from the far end of the dock. No wonder you're still alive and working with Ever despite uncovering so many secrets. The scent of the ocean brushes past him. Raincoat freezes, his mind racing. Behind him is the sea. While he's been looking at where the man is standing, Could he have come from the sea? Are you Raphael? Putting two and two together, he makes an educated guess. You know this Tony guy is really unlucky to get on a hit list for a film. And you're right about how dangerous it is to know too much. Raphael sits down next to the trunk, sighing at the sight of the director being bound and gagged. He turns and glances at Raincoat's hands. The same goes for you. The more dirty work you do, the less you can hold onto these gloves, yeah? Raincoat understands. He knows a lot more about Eva than Tony. Who knows? He might be next. This mysterious artist, who recently returned to the country, has countless connections with Lemuria. His sudden appearance here isn't just to say hello. Thank you for the reminder, Mr. Raphael. Do you have any advice? Well, since you're just in this for the money, why don't you work for me and give yourself a way out? What do you want? Raphael looks out at the ocean, his gaze seemingly penetrating the depths of the water. Ever has an execution list. Those on it either die or disappear. I want a copy for it to be destroyed. Add a few more names to it. Raincoat waits for Raphael to make his request, but then he mentions a single name. A girl? If her name's on the list, then give everything about her to me. He's just a pawn. The complete list only exists in the hands of that person. Watching Raphael's confident demeanor, it's evident he knows the trading partner isn't Raincoat himself. After weighing his options for a moment, Raincoat feels like this is too good of a deal. After careful consideration, he handed an address to Raphael. Mr. Raphael, someone will be waiting for you here tomorrow night. Whether you can obtain the list depends on your negotiation skills. The nest. Raphael glanced at the address briefly before conjuring a flame in his palm and devouring it. The lights there are blinding. Doesn't the person behind you feel the same? Raincoat didn't respond and changed the topic. Is the girl on your list your enemy? I'm just an artist. I don't have enemies. She's my lover, you know. It's almost hard to believe his honesty, but Raincoat has no intention of delving into the artist's confusing life. You're more than just an artist, Mr. Raphael. By the way, did you know you're also on the list? You're ranked 6. Raphael doesn't say anything about it. He just frowns, discontent. Seriously? Why do I have such a low rank? I thought I'd be first. At Raphael's nonchalant attitude, a curious inkling begins to form in Raincoat's mind. He thinks of the mysterious deaths, the rumored sea monster murders that once shook other cities. Then he thinks of the many outsiders the Ever group called research samples that he and other Raincoats had dealt with. After thinking for a few seconds, Raincoat calmly asks, Mr. Raphael, I presume you have your own list. What's my ranking? Raphael waves his hand. You won't make it onto my list for a while. Maybe one day, though. By the way, let the director go when he wakes up. It's better if you have less blood on your hands. Raincoat shrugs. Then here's to a successful partnership. Should we shake hands? I need my hand for painting, so no. Raphael shakes his head, stands up, and walks away. After a few seconds, he stops as if he remembers something. He stares at the raincoat on Raincoat. This doesn't suit you. He waves and completely disappears from Raincoat's sight. Raincoat is silent for a long time. Then he removes his wrist to put the hood on. I bought it yesterday. Longless Treasures. Complete. World Underneath. 6. Sealed in Dust. Chapter 1. Whispers. The door is slightly ajar. A young man wearing a duckbill cap snorts, pushing the door open with a finger. His steps kick up dust, and the sound of his shoes hitting the ground echoes in the empty room. At the window, a man in a raincoat turns his head when he hears the noise. He pulls back his pointed hood. "Long time no see. You look older now." "Have you gone blind as you kept an eye on ever?" the man with the duckbill cap retorts, his voice surprisingly old-sounding compared to his experience. He hands over a black briefcase. "Here are the goods." An explosion sight striking scent still lingers, rushing into his nose. The man in the raincoat frowns. He pulls out a clean handkerchief from his pocket and wraps it around his hand to pinch a corner of the briefcase. He gives it a couple of shakes before opening it. 4 slightly yellow pages unfold before him. They quietly tell a story from 14 years ago. Chapter 2. Unicorn. Subject Anomalies Record. Recorder: Josephine, Gaia Research Center, Unicorn Team, Researcher/Team Leader. Date: Observation number 5, Day 42. Anomalies: Subject 001 regained vital signs after death. Details: Subject 001, female, Evo and Horsian class. Day 41 of observation, 2 a.m. For reasons unknown, suspected to be a researcher's mishandling of the subject, the subject's energy values rapidly increased and peaked at 2:39 a.m. It resulted in a powerful energy burst within her body. No casualties or equipment was damaged. All vital signs disappeared after the explosion. Day 42 of observation. Today, 4 p.m. Vital sign monitors suddenly restarted and slowly transmitted data again. Heart rate, breathing, and brain activity resumed. Not only did subject 001 appear to be alive again, but energy values also returned to normal. A comprehensive physical examination revealed a newly created, unidentified substance in her heart. The experiment notes: Last night's incident was like watching a planet evolve and be reborn via an explosion. The substance in her heart is composed of an unknown element. We've never seen it before. When the data was released, the team applauded and cheered, but I wasn't as excited as I imagined myself to be. My intense curiosity overshadowed the joy of achievement. If she has a non-existent element, then what kind of existence is she? Outside the observation room, Phil asked what we should call this element before we had the right to name it. Everyone gathered around him, and ether became the most popular, irresistible candidate. Using that, the unidentified object in her heart composed of ether and was dubbed an ether core. After coming down from the excitement, we began to look at her resurrection. Phil quietly asked me if this could be considered a resurrection from death. Everyone knew very well that the best way to study her resurrection was to kill her again. If she woke up once more, then we could confirm that she's truly a unique miracle of life in the research center. She's just like a mythological creature long sought after and believed to exist only in our imagination, a unicorn. A fantastical, beautiful creature. A box for collecting votes was passed in the corner of the lab. I passed by it several times, unable to give a vote of approval. I know experimentation is a necessary process. She holds too many secrets that are worth researching and carries an unpredictable amount of energy. Yet, despite my desire for knowledge, I still can't ignore the fact that she is a child. Chapter 3. Observation Log. Observer, Josephine. Entry number 1. Unicorn became the child's name in various reports, replacing the code designation of Subject 001. Only Phil insisted on calling her Little Bomb. She was like a newborn creature, exploring the world every day using only primitive instincts. After her resurrection, her cognition and memory of her previous life were erased. To reassess her abilities, I gave her picture books and cards with words. She quickly passed my tests with flying colours, performing better than children at her age. She absorbed and understood information faster and more thoroughly. If she was in school, she could easily be a 5th grade student. Entry number 2. In terms of the Evo experiment, we could only hypothesize from a numerical perspective. Before she used Evo of her own accord, no one could be sure how the resonance Evo would manifest. Only once did she use resonance unconsciously. The target and range were unclear. Phil has the acoustic transmission Evo. That day, everyone heard him talking on the phone with his girlfriend as if he were a broadcaster. Entry number 3. Following the results of the voting, we began our experiment to kill Unicorn in an observation unit yesterday. We also prepared emergency measures. The same situation repeated itself. The energy inside her was simulated to peak faster than last time, which led to a more intense energy burst. It even spread outside the observation unit. Subsequently, all vital signs disappeared, and she entered a state of death as we typically understood it. The shrill alarm of the life detector went off, and I realized my right hand had been tightly clutching the back of my left hand. My forehead was also covered in sweat. I was worried the child would never wake up again. But in this research center, being attached to a test subject is prohibited. This morning, under the Isakor's influence, she opened her eyes again as expected. Phil breathed a sigh of relief. So did I. I wanted to apologize to the child, but I knew that for her, who had woken up again, the world was a brand new place. She doesn't remember any of us. However, what was more intriguing than her blank state of an emotional state was the Isakor's energy in her heart. With the reawakening of her consciousness, it had become stronger. Chapter 4. Post-Catastrophe Journal. Day 49. Post-Chrono Rift Catastrophe. Sunny observations on unicorns had yet to enter Phase 6 when the Chrono Rift Catastrophe changed the world. The Gaia Research Center couldn't escape the destruction. When I was rescued from the ruins, the child was nowhere to be seen. She might have escaped when the observation unit was smashed. The Evo police who helped in the rescue efforts said they hadn't seen the child I described. I imagined many possibilities, but I was certain she was alive. Days after the disaster, I finally found her in a shelter. When I took her hand, I heard her call me Grandma. I never taught her that term, nor had he ever called me that. She didn't recognize me either. The days in the research center had once again disappeared from her memory. Yet the seemingly instinctual trust and closeness she had showed made me feel as if those forgotten days were always there, invisibly linking us together. I asked her if she wanted to come home with me. She smiled and nodded. In the research center, the moment I pushed her into the observation unit felt like a horrible nightmare. Now, holding her soft hand felt like I grasped a redemption bestowed by fate. Day 75. Post-Chrono Rift catastrophe. Sunny. Our lives have calmed down. Yet, she still forgets things from time to time. Her memory is like a faint signal, intermittent and sometimes wavering. So, I took on the responsibility of a true guardian and cared for her. I don't know how to describe my current feelings. I never had children, nor did I ever imagine having relatives. It's always just me at home. But with her and... things have started to change. Chapter 5. Journey Entry 4. Day 134. Post-Chrono Rift catastrophe. Sunny. Her condition has improved a lot recently. She's less likely to forget things. Perhaps it's because her condition is stabilizing, but I'm still worried and want to check her and the ESA core. However, I'm unable to contact the researchers who knew of her existence back then, including Phil. Strange. Maybe Eva's research center called them, or... I don't know. Looking back, Eva's investment in Gaia wasn't simple research. Our life-form observation project was not just for observation. There must be a bigger scheme. At this point, the only person who I can turn to is Dr. Noah. In the field of cardiology, he's the leading expert and the only one I can still trust. The data after the checkup shows the energy peak in her heart is only half of what it used to be. What happened to this child when she faced the Chrono Rift catastrophe alone? When I subtly asked her, she just shook her head, showing neither pain nor sadness on her face. Seeing her reaction, I suddenly felt that maybe forgetting isn't such a bad thing for her. Chapter 6. Is this it? Having gone through all of the pages, the man in a raincoat appears slightly unsatisfied. Don't be too greedy. The man with a duckbill cap snarled. This is enough for you to confirm her identity and role. You silenced Josephine and retrieved the research material from back then. Good work. The man in the raincoat tosses a vial to the hat-wearing man. Then, he tucks the pages into his bag and returns the briefcase with a 2-finger push. It stinks. Be careful walking around with it. Otherwise, sharp-nosed hunters might follow its scent back to you. Then you better be careful with your handkerchief. When it's tainted like that, you won't make it out either. After checking that the drug is the correct one, the hat-wearing man's lips curl into a smile, his old voice trembling slightly with excitement. When are you planning to make your move? Why should we rush? Her powers aren't complete yet. Besides... The man in the raincoat pauses, glancing outside the window. Your Prince Xavier has been glued to her side watching over her, right? I've been curious for a while. Do people still practice feudalism where you're from? Isn't that regression, in a sense? Xavier can only guard her for so long. He's too busy dealing with his own issues, the hat-wearing man says, eagerly stepping forward. Don't say I didn't warn you. It's not just Ever who wants her. Strike first to gain an advantage. The one who strikes first is helping her cultivation. The man in the raincoat ignores him, putting the hood over his head again. If you can get rid of Xavier in the process, you'd be doing us a big favor. Isn't eternal struggle your specialty? Kill Xavier and let Eva crown you as prince. Arrogant laughter is abruptly cut off as a sunbeam of light cuts his neck. Blood spills out as a wrinkled hand grabs his throat and lifts him. I can't kill Xavier, but I can do more than deal with a two-legged, carbon-based monkey like you. You kill me then. But how long can you survive in this era? The man in the raincoat faintly smiles, his trembling fingers pointing at the drug in the hat-wearing man's hand. Then, a scoff resounds near his ear. He's thrown to a corner. Tell your masters that they better get their hands on her fast. Based on my experience, her existence isn't as simple as the observation records suggest. The man lowers his hat and turns to leave. If you keep stalling, Eva will end up losing more than they bargained for once she delivers. Footsteps fade into the darkness. The door is slammed shut, leaving the man who's wearing a raincoat lying in the rubble. Acting all high and mighty. Backtrack is my ass. By seniority, I'm your ancestor. He staggers to his feet, brushing off the dust on him. Fortunately, the substance mixed in the drug hasn't been discovered yet. According to Eva's plan, if they can control the backtracker with that drug, controlling Xavier shouldn't be far off. He will soon beat other raincoats and join the real plan. Eva Group has always valued talent such as a useful light blade. They can't let it break so easily. Since Unicorn's power isn't complete yet, it's perfectly fine to let her absorb some power, Xavier's specifically. Letting his light blade serve her and becoming the strongest weapon in her hands is something the Resonance Evo can easily achieve. Xavier will surely give her every bit of himself. With these thoughts, the man wearing a raincoat can't help but be moved, pulling out a handkerchief to wipe the corner of his eyes. Love truly is a wonderful thing. World Underneath 6, Sealed in Dust, complete. World Underneath 7, With Light. Chapter 1. A more important matter. The office is quiet as night falls. Tara tiptoes past empty desks, her eyes drawn by the faint hum of electronics to a bunch of old monitors in the corner. Nero, she whispers. Everyone's at the team building retreat. Why don't you join them? Tara taps the back of a monitor and leans against the window. She crosses her arms. After a second passes, the screen flickers as a single word is heard. I told Andrew that if you showed up, you'd be buried in brand new Wanderer data for the next months, and you'd even get to visit the Wanderer Sampling Center in person. He was willing to give his seal of approval. The response wavers this time. Tara can't help but feel more confident. There's a team building event tonight, and Tara's on a mission. A bid, actually. The prize? Afternoon tea with the loser paying for a mountain of fees. Everyone's convinced Nero, the opposite of a social butterfly, won't show up. Everyone except Tara. She believes she has a knack for persuasion. And with Andrew on her side, her odds are looking good. It's such a good opportunity to bond with people. You'd be crazy to miss it. 3, 2, Half of Nero's face peeks out from behind the monitor. Terror and excitement hilariously battle with each other in his eyes. Just as victory seems within reach, a notification erupts from his phone. Nero grabs it, his face draining of color as he reads it. No, I'm not going. Tara's smile evaporates as Nero makes a beeline for the exit. What could possibly be more important than a chance to see a rare wanderer closely? The answer arrives like a fly on her phone. A notification pops up from the group chat called Spilling Tea, and it's a bombshell. Lincoln citizens are holding another poll for their top 10 hunters. After 7 days, will that man still reign supreme as the strongest hunter? The pieces fall into place for Tara. When it comes to Nero, there's only one thing that takes higher priority than a visit to Wanderers: his unwavering worship of Lumiere, the legendary hunter. Chapter 2. Sleepless Friday Night. 7:28 p.m. Nero slams the door to his home, turns on his computer, and rubs his hand together in anticipation. There are 32 minutes left until the Lumiere voting begins. He could easily rig the whole thing with his tech skills, but that's not how he works. Nero believes in the awesome power of light itself. Suddenly, a series of swooshes pierce the air. Nero jumps. It's the unmistakable ringtone from his phone, the iconic sound effect of Hunter Lux's entrance straight from Super Hunter's Hunter Lux special. It's time to become his alter ego, the leader of Lumiere's ultimate fan site. Chief, it's a disaster! The site's being hacked! Quantum Bro, another rumor mill is starting! Lumiere hater alert! Chief, check the top comment! Nero opens the meticulously maintained Light Chaser's website. His heart sinking as an unfamiliar post appears on the homepage. A deep breath buys him a moment to compose himself. He is a warrior preparing to face a great adversary, a troll. The post is a monstrosity. An indiscernible figure wearing a Lumiere outfit lurks in the dark corners of a grimy N109 zone alleyway. That unmistakable mask leaves no doubt about who it is: Lumiere. Bold text screams across the top of the page. Lumiere, the deceiver unmasked, his 7 sins revealed. The first sin is deception. Tragic! Where's the ultimate beauty beneath the mask? Here's the security footage. A burst of life transforms into a hooded figure near a florist. It's enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. After all, anyone with the light evo is incredibly rare, and this hooded guy has the same physique as Lumiere. It's uncanny. And when he lowered his hood, he had a face etched with wrinkles. It's a stark contrast to the useful image of Lumiere that everyone imagined. Decades of heroism should leave him middle-aged at least, right? Still, a blurry video sits below the text, the wrinkles catching the streetlight's illumination in a way that makes Nero shudder. Voting is only a few minutes away. Nero springs into action. His fingers fly across the keyboard, bypassing the city's security system to access the raw footage from that location. The Light Chaser flashes a confident smile. As the revered leader of the Light Chaser's website, his data wrangling skills are legendary, even though he never shows up for any of their offline events. A calming message flashes across the site. It's okay, everyone. I'm on the case. Quantum Socialite. Actually, a frame-by-frame analysis confirms that geezer in the video isn't Lumiere. Here's why. 1. It's clear he's built differently. Lumiere's got a superior physique. 2. This guy walks like a sack of potatoes compared to Lumiere's graceful moves. 3. And here's a deep dive into the Evo particle readings. The colors and amplitude aren't even close to Lumiere's signature. Check the pinned video for the full breakdown. Truth prevails. 4 a.m. Nero, sporting some serious eye bags, finally catches a glimpse of dawn light seeping through the curtains. Exhaustion crashes over him like a welcoming wave after he spent the night defending his hero. A small smile graces his lips. Justice was served. Chapter 3. The Introvert Bites Back. The second sin is pride. Ridiculous. Does Lumiere even care? A new day, a new sin to expose. Let's hear what this old light chaser has to say. Here's a disgruntled voice, disguised by a voice changer, ranting about a night of dashed hopes. That year, an insider tip promised Lumiere's appearance at the grand opening of Azure Square. Thousands of fans shivered in the spring chill, only to be left disappointed. This self-absorbed guy doesn't deserve their devotion. The memory flickers to life. Nero, a scrawny 10-year-old back when the high-speed railway was a dream, remembers his dad planning a grueling 7 to 8 hour drive to Lincoln City. According to a rumor, Lumiere would appear at Azure Square. But the Hunters Association dispelled this rumor, so he stayed at home. Something was off. Even the association wouldn't have Lumiere's personal info. Where did this insider tip come from? Nero activates his expert mode and scours the web for traces of this old rumor. Finally, buried in an outdated private forum's back-end database, he stumbles upon a message. We must construct the illusion of truth, spread the rumor, and we can force Lumiere to show up. Quantum Socialite. Actually, the Hunters Association issued a notice 3 days before the opening. They said Lumiere wouldn't be attending. It's still on their website. Now, let's talk about real pride. These chat logs clearly show people were spreading rumors even after the official announcement. They were basically trying to guilt-trip Lumiere's fans into forcing him to appear. Those people don't deserve to be light chasers. Just as Nero wraps up his digital investigation, a blast from the past pops up. It's a message he sent to the Hunters Association in his younger days. I really want to meet Lumiere! And nestled among the few responses is a gem. Instead of looking up to the light, why not become a light that illuminates the world for others? That memory sparks a familiar warmth. It was the summer he decided to become a hunter himself. The third sin is sloth. Shocking. Lumiere actually sleeps with wanderers. You thought Lumiere was different? Here he is, sharing a cozy nap with the enemy. Look closely. Doesn't that glow next to the hurt knave look familiar? The photographer claims he stumbled upon the scene. Lumiere supposedly vanished the moment the picture was snapped, and this incriminating evidence was left behind. Quantum Socialite. Talking about wanderers in front of me is like teaching a fish how to swim. As an intelligentsia-type wanderer, hurt knave can influence the human psyche. Being attacked by a hurt knave means the victim can be trapped in an illusion. It's extremely dangerous, but if you look closely at the hurt knave's hands, you'll see light cuffs. The crystalline blade has also lost its shine, indicating its protocore energy has been depleted. By the way, this photo was taken at 2:37 AM. While we were sleeping, Lumiere was out there battling wanderers to protect us. He must have been exhausted from his efforts. He wanted to rest after his victory, but he was disturbed by you, an unethical photographer, and had to leave. It can get chilly at night. Please cover Lumiere with a soft blanket next time to keep him from catching a cold. Nero hammers away at the keyboard, frustration fueling his fingertips. But there's a flicker of hope. The photo of the hurt knave is undeniably real, and the curled-up figure sparks a strange joy. He doesn't know why the flash of light that supposedly belongs to Lumiere feels familiar. It reminds him of a similar light he saw behind a monitor at the Hunters Association. It was but a fleeting moment when he was alone. Where did that light come from? The next 3 days drag on. The remaining accusations, structured and seemingly logical, crumble under scrutiny. Nero blasts through them with official data from the Hunters Association public platform. There was no need for his expert skills this time. The fourth sin is greed! This post claims Lumiere hoards protocols and secretly auctions them off to the black market after conveniently finding them in battle. Lumiere's presence leads to unrecycled protocols, but the Association's protocol tracking platform exposes this lie. The cores in question were destroyed after the Wanderer encounters were confirmed. The fifth sin is envy. This claims Lumiere often hacks the hunting leaderboard on the Abyssal Chaos forum by baiting challengers with a fake top spot. He eliminates them to steal their protocols, but it turns out Lumiere helped apprehend the Tenebrae the Association has been chasing for years. The sixth sin is violence. Talks about the recent Tezcatlipoca subway lighting and the Azure Square attack. They were elaborate hoaxes set up by Lumiere's team to make him more popular. The other person fighting alongside Lumiere is the true mastermind. It's a money-grabbing scheme to push Lumiere to the top 10 hunters and allow him to rule the hunter world with an iron fist. Quantum Socialite. 6 days, huh? I'd like to thank the troll for stirring the plot. While your last accusation was all over the place, it did give me a chance to showcase Lumiere's heroism to everyone. It was even greater proof that he's the ultimate role model. But amidst the flurry of denials, Nero obtains a detail from some classified documents. Whether it's the destroyed protocols, Tezcatlipoca's return, or the Azure Square's attack, all of these events involve one person. It's his constantly absent colleague from Alpha Team, Xavier. Nero starts piecing together a theory about this mystery teammate, but compared to the bombshell of the 7th day, they're nothing. Chapter 4. Has the light vanished? Nero stares at the screen. The words, "The 7th sin is this, the light has faded," burn themselves into his retinas. This isn't the dramatic takedown he expected. It's just a few leftover documents, but their content hits him hard like venom coursing through his veins. He feels nauseated as he reads them. Light Evo has been detected. Evolver's evolve limit cannot be defined. Any attempts to probe this limit triggers a special neck suppressor, which prevents the evolver from using their full power. The techies can't explain it. No physical form detected, no scars, and the energy suppression field acts like a protocol anomaly. After conducting a series of experiments in the lab, the techies finally unraveled the suppressor's mechanism. They boosted its threshold and got a basic understanding of some of its mechanisms. Below the text is a close-up of someone's throat, the Evo suppressor pulsating as a vicious, constrictive red ring of light. And then, there's a bit of silver in the corner. It's a tassel earring. Nero's breast hitches. He knows only one person who would wear that. The site explodes. Thousands tag Quantum Socialite and demand answers. Others mock the blind face in the light. Their words pierce Nero's insides. This information isn't in his meticulously curated Lumiere archives. Panic claws away at him. The empty Alpha Team office makes him feel colder. He bites his lip. His fists are clenched, and he breaks out in a cold sweat. No matter how deep his breaths are, the hunter's watch on his wrist keeps sounding a health warning. Xavier has been going to the office more than usual He's meeting up with someone, maybe. He scans the room as incessant beeping reaches his ears. Following the sound, he finds Nero, whose eyes are red and watery. "Did something happen?" Xavier asks, his gaze flitting between Nero and the screen. Nero slowly lifts his head and glances at the colleague he rarely sees. He wants to ignore the question, but the photo on his screen, the captured Lumiere radiating an unshakable serenity, triggers a tsunami of emotions he's been desperately trying to hold back. "Did something happen? Why are you asking me that? Look at this! Do you even recognize him?" He practically throws the screen at Xavier, who raises an eyebrow and leans back a little. "See the earring? That's Lumiere! Lumiere could be dead." "Oh." Xavier nods. "Maybe you should go home." "Go home? We don't even know if he's alive, and you just want to go home?" Replacing the beeping is a shrill alarm that pierces the tense silence. Nero's breathing quickens and hyperventilation threatens to take hold. Xavier quickly grabs a paper bag and offers it to him. He tries to offer a few words of comfort. "Calm down. He should be okay now." Nero glances at Xavier, his gaze capable of melting glaciers. He snatches the paper bag and buries his head in it. His shoulders slump, and a defeated sigh escapes his lips. "You don't understand him at all." Chapter 5. A Little Chat. 2 weeks of nail-biting anticipation finally culminate as the top 10 hunters list is released. Unsurprisingly, Lumiere reigns supreme once again, with even more votes than in previous years. But a new name throws a curveball. Quantum Socialite rocks in 10th place and sports the official Deepspace Hunter logo instead of a personal photo. Who is this mysterious hunter? Is he even real? The public doesn't seem to care and showers Quantum Socialite with votes anyway. The bold colors and flashy design, this intelligentsia-type wanderer perfectly captures the spirit of today's youth, especially the hurt knave with its crystalline blade, supermodel-like figure, and creepy hollow face. It's mesmerizing. I hope your company seriously considers launching a line of Wanderer plushies. They'd be a hit, trust me. After sending his 40-second feedback email to Twinkle Toys, Nero puts his phone away and stands outside the training room. Xavier walks out, and Nero takes a deep breath. He stops him. "Hey, I overacted last time. Sorry about that." "And Xavier, I think I figured out one of your secrets. It's okay if you want to deny it, but hear me out." A flicker of confusion crosses Xavier's face. He waits for Nero to continue. "The protocol incidents that involve Lumiere, Tezcatlipoca, Azure Square. I know the truth. You're Lumiere." A hint of surprise appears on Xavier's brow. Nero leans closer to him, a triumphant smirk on his face. "Lumiere's ultimate fan, right? You pulled some strings for that movie gig, didn't you? I get it. You're a real light chaser, but you don't need to confess. You can pretend this never happened if you want." Xavier's expression softens, and a small smile plays on his lips. "Thanks. No worries. Lumiere scoop drops are coming your way as soon as I can get them." Nero watches Xavier walk away, a whirlwind of emotions circling in his chest. What kind of connection does this guy have with Lumiere? Regardless, Lumiere's legacy will keep inspiring others, one group at a time. With renewed purpose, Nero opens his Light Chaser's website and creates a new post. pinned by quantum socialite. Lumiere is a beacon in the darkness, guiding us to forge ahead, and I believe, with unwavering certainty, that his light will continue to shine in the future, because there is light everywhere. World Underneath 7. Within Light. Complete. World Underneath 8. Micro-Universe. Chapter 1. Art Appreciation and Criticism. The Gaia Research Center looms before Maiko, a hulking fortress of lead grey concrete, its thick walls pierced only by rows of tiny square windows. Maiko stands in front of the iris scanner and steps out. He takes in a breath of fresh air. He spent half a year cooped in this biological fortress cultivating cells. All the data's being uploaded, and we got a master's student this year. Nice. Maiko forces himself to smile before his colleagues, grabs his backpack, and sprints to the shuttle bus as its doors are about to close. Sunlight filters through the canopy of lush trees on the university's campus. Dappled light paints the ground in emerald hues. He feels alive. Before graduation, with his thesis looming like a monster and job applications piling up, the only saving grace is art appreciation and criticism. It's a highly sought-after elective course. As he walks into the classroom, phone in hand, he sees the course evaluation system buzzing with comments. Comment: I'm wasting my time. I can't remember a word the professor said. I just zoned out while staring at his face. Comment: Here's what the professor says when he starts class. Sorry, wrong class. A chuckle escapes Maiko's lips. Comment: Well, in this course, students from other faculties learn to appreciate art, while art students learn criticism. It's not about criticizing art, it's about criticizing you. Maiko nods, his smile widening. Comment: This professor must be a fish monster with the way he nitpicks everything. My work was nothing according to him. Comment: I know, right? He once told me that if eating fish made you smarter, you'd need the whole ocean. Maiko throws his head back and laughs. Comment: Prepare to be shocked by the most elegant critique in the worst art, especially when that terrible art is mine. Comment: What's the best way to skip class? Bring a cat. But honestly, who would want to miss this? Maiko grins. Every comment brings back his memories of Raphael. Chapter 2. Lessons 1. Maiko notices Raphael after seeing one of his paintings online. He couldn't grasp it on a professional level, but the colors vibrated with a beauty he couldn't deny. Arriving for the first class, the room was bursting with activity. Even the stairs were packed. Raphael stood gracefully by the podium, his voice weaving a tapestry of art appreciation and criticism. Still catching his breath as he had to run from the lab, Maiko scanned the room and finally found a spot. Hey, can you tell me what the third point on the slide was? Maiko pulled out his laptop and nudged an engrossed classmate who appeared surprised. Seriously? You're here for art? Maiko didn't know why the energy in the room was infectious. Laughter rippled through the crowd as Raphael threw out another witty remark. The gloom Maiko had brought from the lab instantly disappeared. After class, Maiko walked up to Raphael, his laptop screen open to display his half-finished notes. Excuse me, Professor. I didn't really understand your last point about appreciation and interpretation. Can you explain it for me? The key to appreciation lies in trusting your gut, Raphael said. He helped Maiko fill in on the missing lecture content and glanced thoughtfully at Maiko's notes. Grab that seat next time. You'll be in the front row, center stage." Surprised? Michael followed Raphael's gaze. He was flattered to see the spot in front of the podium being offered. In his mind, artists were enigmatic and aloof. Meanwhile, scientists were the ones who valued clarity and communication. Earlier that day, a harsh scolding for questioning an overly aggressive experiment in the lab left Michael jaded. He never expected solace to come from a seemingly sharp-tongued artist. But Michael quickly discovered that Raphael needed his notes as a reminder. He was prone to losing his train of thought mid-lecture. Whenever Raphael's eyes met his, Michael flipped around his laptop screen, his notes typed up in a large font for easy reading. It happens when your ideas get a little too tangled. Michael tried to explain for Raphael, then recalled the first painting that captivated him. The unforgettable colors and abstract patterns echoed the playful doodles he used to create in petri dishes. Chapter 3: True Colors. Michael initially saw Raphael's class as a welcome break from the lab, but the day Raphael unveiled his own work was when the art world truly opened its doors for Michael. To give students from other faculties a deeper understanding of art appreciation and criticism, Raphael presented one of his creations and let the art students critique it. As classmates showered the piece with praise, Michael felt a growing disconnect with them. Comments like liberating yet short, separate brushstrokes, blurred edges that hide lines and let colors flow with vibrant energy, and like a rapid sea current capturing the fleeting interplay of light and shadow, flew over his head. He didn't understand a single bit. "Now let's hear from students from other faculties," Raphael announced, his gaze landing on Michael. Nervous and tense, he scrambled to look for notes from the first class. 1. Appreciation and criticism. The union of sensibility and reason. 2. Critique is a personal journey, shaped by individual aesthetic preferences. It's an active recreation by the viewer. 3. All appreciation is interpretation. The key to appreciation lies in trusting your gut. Taking a deep breath, Michael clenched his fists and stood up. His voice trembled slightly as he spoke. "Okay, I know I'm not an art major like the rest of you. My understanding of art is, well, also limited." With a deep breath, he began to explain his interpretation. "Honestly, it's a bit messy to me." The room went silent. Michael nervously glances at Raphael only to find the professor tilting his head in encouragement. "But the colors are strong. They work together, somehow. It's actually quite calming to look at, and peaceful." He lowered his head, the sweat prickling his back. "Biology, right? Your artistic intuition is spot on, actually. This piece was just me venting my frustration at my agent. A few angry strokes to blow off steam, you know." Laughter rippled through the classroom and washed away the tension. Michael was surprised that Raphael even remembered his major. It was a small moment, but it shattered his perception of art as this complicated, unattainable world. He saw a young boy once captivated by the vibrant colors of flowers and the diversity of animals. Now, he was a young man trapped in a world of gray concrete buildings, peering under a microscope at every single color, called LCMECs. Chapter 4: Absurdity and Negative Space. Raphael's classes weren't always sunshine and rainbows. During the midterm exam, Michael got his first taste of pressure. It was a practical exam. art students brought in their creations for the class to appreciate and critique. When the exam was announced, Michael found it intriguing, but little did he know that the critique was reserved for non-art students. As the comments rolled in, it became clear. Art students were getting critiqued while students from other faculties were learning to appreciate. Despite the low-key setup of the exhibition, a nervous tension hung in the air. The usually free-spirited art students became surprisingly serious. When Raphael approached them, their fists were clenched. Michael might not understand everything on display, but certain pieces drew him in. One painting had a hazy, dreamlike quality, and Raphael commented on it. "The intended blank is good. You can keep that. Now, let's think about the rest." Another was bursting with color and exaggerated strokes. It caught Michael's eye. Raphael made a gentle remark. "Interesting. You're pioneering a new genre. Let's call it absurd abstraction." The student walked away while biting their lip. Under his breath, Raphael added, "Enough abstraction and way too much absurdity." This side of Raphael threw Michael for a loop. He realized that within the realm of art, Raphael can be surprisingly strict, bordering aloofness even. Stepping out of class was the creator of the absurd abstraction piece. Michael couldn't help but comment, "The professor can be tough during critiques. He doesn't even sugarcoat things. But I like your painting. The colors are cool and kind of cute. It's a bit out there though." The student gave Michael a long look before they broke into a fit of laughter. "No wonder Raphael likes you." Michael's brow furrowed in confusion. The student explained, "Enough abstraction and too much absurdity. It's similar to the out there part you mentioned." "Wait, so he wasn't criticizing you?" "Art critique isn't always what you expect. Raphael didn't say it was bad. Whatever he acknowledges is a win for me." "So, about the intended blank, does keeping it mean erasing everything else?" "That's the trickiest part. Using it well means your composition and concept are on point. Skills come with practice." Michael listened intently, and a bold idea for his final project blossomed in his mind. Chapter 5. Field Trip. As the semester was near its end, Raphael took his class on a field trip to a rural architectural gem, a place steeped in centuries of history. This small town boasted a treasure trove of well-preserved buildings, cloisters, courtyards, and halls tucked away within private homes. Michael always envisioned Raphael as the product of Verona's elite art world. Yet here he was, effortlessly identifying the age of a resident's salted fish by scent, and wielding a paper-cutting scissor to recreate building silhouettes. This down-to-earth side made Raphael seem more approachable. With free time on his hands, Michael wandered along the towering white walls, their weathered surfaces adorned with moss. He couldn't help but be reminded of Raphael's paintings. As he turned a corner, he spotted Raphael sitting alone. He was on a stone bench in a secluded courtyard. Raphael stared straight ahead. In the courtyard, vibrant peonies bloomed, and a majestic sophora tree's canopy rose over a tall wall. Clusters of sophora flowers swayed gently in the breeze, like wind chimes. Even Michael couldn't deny the picturesque scene. He must be lost in artistic contemplation. I shouldn't disturb him. Wait. Just as Michael prepared to leave, Raphael called out to him, "You! Take that away!" Michael scanned the courtyard, searching for anything out of place. He saw Raphael's furrowed brow. Raphael pointed at the sophora tree. That thing! Get rid of it! Quickly! Perched on the stone steps beside the tree was a chubby orange cat, easily 9 kilograms, meticulously grooming itself. It occasionally cast a disdainful glance at the two men. Suspicious? Michael eyed the fat orange cat, but to his surprise, the cat rolled onto its back in an obvious display of trust. As Raphael let out a dramatic sniffle, Michael scooped up the cat and turned to face him. Raphael, however, averted his gaze and began walking out of the courtyard. With a curt nod, he acknowledged Michael. "I'm glad you showed up, Michael." For a long time, it was the only interaction that put Michael at ease. It somehow even lightened the 9-kilo cat in his arms. After all, back in the lab, he was just that Lincoln intern, or S460602, his staff number. The long tree-lined path ends as the memories of the field trip fade into the distance. Raphael's final class is about to begin, and Michael can't shake the feeling that this might be the closest and last brush with art. Stepping into the familiar classroom, the scene mirrors the first class, except now, Michael has his own designated spot. As he walks past the podium, a group of students huddles together, clearly hoping for leniency on their final grades. From behind, Raphael's voice cuts through. He's light on his feet but firm in his tone. Teacher's guide, not cheat. The final class is a breeze. It's just an open discussion about the semester's journey. Conversations flow freely, weaving tales of discovery and a newfound appreciation for beauty. A few students even present revised versions of their midterm projects, each retaining their unique style. Yet something has subtly changed. Michael can't quite put his finger on it, but he knows that the abstract and the absurd are valid, and the intended blank can spark imagination that transcends others. Michael also brings his work, but he holds back until more students leave. He then approaches Raphael and unfolds his meticulously prepared artwork. It's an image of LCMECs, cells from the lab where he spends most of his days and nights. LCMECs are a type of immortalized cells. They are not uncommon in the microscopic world, but they remind me of your paintings. The splendid microscopic world, teeming with life under high magnification, has become Michael's sanctuary in the sterile grey lab. He steps forward, energized, but his next words are stuck in his throat. Raphael wasn't listening to him. His gaze is fixed, almost glued, to the name of that cell. Confused by the professor's intense focus, Michael racks his brain to remember the full name of the cells. LCMECs. Cardiac microvascular endothelial cells. As for the first word, it was limb something. Chapter 6. LCMECs. Michael, are you already on your way to Ever HQ? 3 months in, huh? That's impressive. The elevator doors open and reveal a familiar face. He's 3 months out of grad school, and summer's golden grip loosens. An awkward silence hangs in the air until, like clockwork, someone pipes up. Michael flashes a smile. Hey, you doing good? I can't complain. A new intern discovered a pancreatic enzyme that's almost the same color as my growth medium and swapped it. How perfect is that? The cells haven't hit the Hayflick limit yet, but I'm already feeling fried. Realizing his voice has gotten a bit loud, he coughs and quickly switches to a hushed tone. Listen, HQ's a jungle. Keep your head on a swivel and don't get lost in your work like you always do. Thanks, but... Michael hesitates and then leans in to question his senior colleague. Just out of curiosity, where do LCMECs come from? Be careful with that curiosity of yours. HQ keeps that under wraps. Besides, what good would come out of having such knowledge? Michael isn't entirely sure himself. Based on that first word, limsumsing, a wild guess forms in his mind. But that civilization is long gone. How could life still exist? Exiting the building, his colleague waves goodbye and sprints for the shuttle bus. Michael is left alone under the vast grey structure. He glances back, and the setting sun is partially obscured. This mirrors the scene from that final art appreciation class. At the time, in the empty classroom, Raphael held Michael's LCMEC's image. He walked to the window and slowly lifted the artwork. The setting sun, just like today, cast a soft glow through the paper. A gust of wind tapped the window, and the microscopic universe on the paper seemingly came alive. Tiny colored blocks transformed into miniature colorful fish, their tails flickering as they danced from Raphael's fingertips into the dusty air. Professor? Michael approached him cautiously, unsure if he should interrupt. Question. Do you typically extract cells from living subjects, or are they... Michael was surprised by Raphael's unexpected inquiry. It depends, honestly. I'm not privy to that information. I'll have to check with the lab. Next time I'm there, I'll put in a request. Ah, don't worry, I was just curious. But tell me, what do you think of these cells? They're a perfect blend of biology and art. They make me see life as an art form. Honestly, Professor, the lab work can be boring sometimes. I almost lost my passion for research. But these cells are incredible. Not only are they beautiful, but they seem to hold secrets about life itself. Maybe the microscopic world is just as rich and colorful as the one you paint. That makes me want to keep exploring it. A genuine smile graced Raphael's face as he lowered his arm and turned to face Michael. His posture remained as poised and elegant as when they first met. Yeah, biology is a fascinating subject. It reveals the underlying colors of all life on Earth. It's a masterpiece painted by nature itself. He handed the cell image back to Michael. Then he turned and walked away from the window. Michael, if you achieve great things in biology, never forget that. World Underneath. 8. Micro-Universe. Complete. World Underneath. 9. No Morning. Chapter 1. Crush. Does my baby face make me look a little green? Yvonne pushes a patient to radiology when she spots Grayson muttering to himself, his image reflected in the elevator's polished steel. Thank goodness Dr. Zane's out, otherwise you'd be in for a lecture. Dr. Zane's been busy catching up on work since his Mount Eternal trip. No time to micromanage. Grayson eyes the patient in the wheelchair. His leg is wrapped in a specialized cast for wanderer infections. The guy is glued to his phone and doesn't appear to be an average patient. Hunter? The man lifts his wrist and reveals an information band. Grayson scans it with the hospital's internal system app. He gets a result. Arctic Hunter. The patient had received a traumatic injury during battle and was briefly exposed to a high volume of metaflux. After going through post-treatment at the Arctic Trauma Center, a panel of experts flagged him for a procedure at Lincoln's Axel Hospital. The hunter in the wheelchair grumbles impatiently. What was this kidnapping routine? When am I getting out of here? It's just a minor injury. Besides, the Arctic is a mess. We're already short-staffed as it is. You dragged me all the way here. It's standard protocol, and it's for your own good, Yvonne replies with a shrug. Grayson nods. Based on their limited interactions with hunters, mostly through Dr. Zane's special cases, they understood that these individuals prioritize missions over everything else. This is especially true for Alpha Team, for whom a recommendation for further examination is but a suggestion. Grayson remembers something and decides to change the subject. By the way, I'm curious. What do hunters do on their days off? The Arctic hunter continues scrolling through his phone, determined to shut Grayson down with one quick retort. Get wheeled around for checkups. But Grayson isn't giving up that easily. Then do hunters have any hobbies they share? The hunter finally looks up, scrutinizing Grayson's earnest expression with a hint of confusion. Then, as if a light bulb goes off in Yvonne's head, she exclaims, Grayson, don't tell me you've got a crush on... Grayson scratches his head sheepishly and coughs as his throat has become very itchy. Ding! The elevator bell rings. Yvonne, understanding the situation, pushes the hunter out of the elevator. Grayson quickly follows. What are you following me for? I haven't gotten my answer from the hunter yet. The medical examination briefing for the Hunters Association is about to start. Being a couple of minutes late won't hurt. Dr. Zane's already there. What? Why didn't you tell me sooner? Why would Dr. Zane be at this meeting? Grayson quickly turns and rushes to the elevator. His body is already inside, but his eyes are fixed on the Arctic hunter, desperate for an answer. He doesn't care if he's blocking the elevator door in a way that almost screams, "Don't try the stunt at home, kids." Punching wanderers. Grayson's heart sinks. He purses his lips in disappointment and lets out a sigh as the elevator door closes. Chapter 2. Sustenance. By the time Grayson reaches the conference room, Dr. Zane is reviewing a case file with Dr. View from the Division of Evo and Protocol Medical Technology. Just as Grayson is about to greet him, Dr. Zane stands up and leaves the room. A trail of icy air is left behind. Stop by my office after the meeting. Grayson nods and finds a seat. It's just a regular briefing about the annual event where the Hunters Association's Health Center partners with Axel Hospital to conduct comprehensive medical examinations on hunters. It ensures the effects of metaflux and protocol energy on their bodies remain within manageable limits. Grayson's mind, however, drifts elsewhere. It replays a scene where an injured person's heartbeat is brought back to life in his hands, and the girl smiles at him against the backlight. The wanderers behind her burst like fireworks, their light echoing the blossoming warmth in his heart. His phone buzzes, pulling him back to reality. Yvonne had sent him a message. Hey, regarding your Hunter girl, why not take a cue from Dr. Zane? He's so close with Miss Hunter. You know that saying her name turns him into a softie. Grayson shivers at the thought of Dr. Zane's reaction if he asks something like, Dr. Zane, how did you pursue Miss Hunter? It's not that I don't want to. It's that I don't dare, Grayson thought. After the meeting, Grayson walks to Dr. Zane's office at a slower pace this time. To ask or not to ask? That is the question. Dr. Zane, I'm here. As he enters the office, a refreshing, cool fragrance reaches him. Dr. Zane, who is currently reviewing his file, has a slight frown on his face. It's a common sight when faced with a patient's challenging medical condition. There's a Type A cryosena implant surgery scheduled for the day after tomorrow. Get ready. Grayson takes the file, which belongs to the Arctic hunter he met earlier. The metaflux reaction in the patient's leg wound exceeds the reference limit and cannot be completely removed. Medical imaging results show that the residual metaflux has entered the bloodstream. A cryoxena must be implanted as soon as possible to prevent the metaflux from affecting the patient's heart even more. It could lead to a powerful surge, and he was still yelling about being discharged when I saw him this afternoon. We'll be performing 2 surgeries back to back, so it will take a while. You can skip the Hunters Association medical examination tomorrow and get some rest. Grayson nods, then shakes his head. I'll be fine. The association medical examination is always a breeze, just like a day off. Dr. Zane doesn't stop writing. His gaze from behind his glasses meets Grayson's for a moment. It's followed by a soft, that sounds suspiciously meaningful to Grayson. Grayson responds with an awkward Staring at the desk, he tries to change the subject. What a fascinating flower. Those buds look just like tiny snowballs. Is it for Miss Hunter? Grayson curls his fingers and reaches for a small potted plant with white buds nestled in snow. It's on Zane's desk. It's a little droopy. Don't touch it. Zane's pen smacks Grayson's knuckles. Startled, he pulls his hand back, realizing his attempt at a conversation has failed. Grayson shifts to another topic. Dr. Zane, you're more than inspirational. You're not only my mentor in my specialty, but also a guiding light for my life's journey. A teacher for a day and for... Do you have a crush now? Zane, with a stack of documents, heads to the filing cabinet. Grayson follows closely behind. Not really, it's just a budding feeling. Hunter? Oh, Dr. Zane, you're always so perceptive. You want to get to know her, but don't know how to break the ice. Exactly. I don't want to bother her during work, and I also don't know how to talk to her outside of work. Dr. Zane, how did you and Miss Hunter become friends? Our situation is unique. It's not a fair comparison. Of course, I'm not asking for a roadmap. I'm just curious about the lives of Hunter's loved ones. Zane settles back into his chair and clasps his hands together. He lets out a soft sigh. It's similar to the expression he wore on Grayson's first day when he couldn't answer a question during his rounds. Can you tell jokes? What? Grayson is completely baffled. Jokes. How could Dr. Zane's dry humor, the kind that would make a cricket chirp, possibly get him a girlfriend? Looking at Zane's eyes, Grayson tries to discern whether this is a genuine advice, but all he sees is a cold glint reflected in Zane's glasses. Well, maybe hunters have a unique sense of humor. I'll give it a shot. Grayson lingers in the office. He turns back as if on the verge of asking a question. Then, catching a glimpse of snowflakes swirling in Zane's palm, he watches them land in the flower pot. The previously wilted stem seems to come alive, and the bud raises itself as if being gently awakened. His fingertips traces across the sepals, caressing them like a beloved's face. It's a rare sight. Zane, ever stoic and resting glacier face to his patients, has the hint of a smile gracing his lips as he looks at the flower. Guessing question time is over, Grayson turns back around and exhales. There has to be more to it than just telling jokes, if Dr. Zane's able to charm Miss Hunter. Chapter 3. In the Shadows. The next morning, Grayson hums cheerfully as he enters the cafeteria with his breakfast tray. Yvonne, in the middle of biting a piece of breast, looks up in surprise. Today, Grayson is wearing a sharp, navy blue, three-piece suit with a tie. His white lab coat is nowhere to be found. Ugh, men. Swallowing her food, Yvonne speaks as if she isn't new to the games that guys play. It's better to be prepared and not panic. That's key, right? What if she notices me during the medical examinations today? Grayson digs into his yogurt, but a sudden, almost jarring alarm cuts through the chatter. Metaflux leak in the northern suburbs. Exposure level 5. Grayson shoves a piece of bread in his pocket and sprints for the rooftop helipad. A rescue helicopter lifts off, and Zane's figure disappears behind the fuselage door. Zane is always one step ahead in emergencies. Grayson leaps into another helicopter that was prepared. Inside the cramped fuselage, he and another doctor scramble to change into protective gear, their eyes occasionally glancing at the northern suburbs. The rescue zone falls under her jurisdiction. Will their paths cross? A part of him hopes she's not there, but another part of him can't help but pray that if she is hurt, he'll be the one to treat her. The rescue operation lasts for 2 grueling days and nights. On the 3rd day, just before dawn, Grayson slumps against the stack of supplies in the temporary tent. He's utterly drained. Did you evacuate everyone from Zone 2? A voice asks from behind. Grayson is too exhausted to turn. Dr. Zane, you're here too. Fatigue crashes over Grayson like a wave. Finally, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out his phone. Dr. Zane, she remembered me. He shows Zane the phone screen. There's a chaotic post-battle street picture with the following caption. The moment my heart started beating again was so cool. See, this post is about me. And earlier when I was unloading the supplies, she volunteered to help. She said I should take care of my hands because I'm a surgeon. After a second of silence, Zane responds. And you just let her take the box. Why not? In the unseen shadows, Zane cracks a faint smile. The hint of weariness beneath it escapes Grayson, who's drunk on his romance. Letting the girl you like do all the heavy lifting. You're quite the charmer. Hey, she is stronger than me. I struggle with 1 box, and she carries 2 with ease. Recalling his earlier helicopter struggle, Grayson adds, Speaking of which, Miss Hunter's job is so dangerous. Shouldn't you try to convince her to be less reckless? The response comes in faint breaths in the cold air. It seems Zane has fallen asleep. There's another question burning in Grayson's mind. If anything happened to Miss Hunter, what would Dr. Zane do? But then he remembers the faint scars crisscrossing on Zane's hands. With his superior medical skills, powerful avowal, and unwavering resolve, Grayson knows Zane wouldn't let anyone get hurt, especially when it's someone he cares about. Even today, during a rescue break, Zane had once again saved people from wanderers. Only Zane can truly stand beside Miss Hunter in battle. Grayson glances down at his own hands. They're ordinary surgeon hands, and they don't have a strong avowal at their disposal. What could he do? The tent becomes colder. Grayson closes his eyes and surrenders to the encroaching darkness. Chapter 4. Snow Velvet. The emergency rescue operation throws the Arctic Hunter's surgeries back 2 days. Thankfully, everything went smoothly. The next day, Grayson follows Zane. They're going to do a checkup on the Hunter. Restless after complaining about overkill treatment, the patient is now stuck in bed. He's bored out of his mind as daily status updates for Mount Eternal's protofield appear on the projector. As Zane and Grayson enter the room, he throws out a casual question. Can I still be a hunter? It catches Grayson off guard. He throws a worried glance at the sagging blanket that covers the hunter's leg. He looks at Zane for an answer. Yes, Zane replies. As long as you promise to avoid getting injured again. I'll try my best. Trying isn't good enough. It's good you have Dr. Zane here, otherwise, what you might have lost wouldn't be... Zane throws a look at Grayson. Recovering his composure, Grayson uses his professional tone. Movement can increase blood flow. If you're planning to be out on the field, you should also schedule some more frequent checkups. And the cryosena needs to be replaced regularly. Ugh, fine. When can I get out of here? No longer sad, the hunter's impatience returns to what it was before his surgery. Grayson is upset. Physical therapy starts in 2 weeks, and the stitches come out in 4 weeks. As for bionic exoskeleton, that will be 6 to 8 weeks. It depends on how your wound heals. Zane remains calm as he lays out the recovery timeline. The 8-week wait makes the hunter frown, but Zane cuts him off before he can protest. There are 2 ways out of here, walking or rolling. You'll experience the walking part soon, but if you want to keep hunting, follow the doctor's orders. Otherwise, you might be rolling out of the hospital. A chill runs through the room, and frost seemingly appears on the window. The hunter gulps and nods, clearly getting the message. A week later, Grayson enters the room for the Arctic hunter's final checkup. The good news is that the residual metaflux remained contained for 2 weeks. The cryosena is working perfectly, so the surgery was a success. Congratulations! Off to physical therapy you go, and you'll be back on the battlefield in no time. He supports the hunter by offering an elbow. They stroll through the sun-drenched hospital garden. So Grayson, did anything happen with that hunter girl? She asked me out. We'll be having dinner together on my next day off. He smiles, but a flicker of concern crosses his face as the hunter winces with every step. Are you worrying about her again? Yeah, I can't help it. Your guy's job is dangerous. As they step into the elevator, a memory surfaces. Their first encounter a month ago. It was right there that the hunter's voice boomed in protest against a kidnapping. But now? What's there to be scared of? We got you guys watching our backs. The hunter remains nonchalant about potential risks. Grayson is infuriated again. Hey, we're just regular hard-working doctors. The way you charge into danger and face all those risks almost scares us to death. Passing by Zane's office, the hunter stops in his tracks. Is the glacier face talking? I owe him a thank you. He usually takes a break around this time, Grayson says, but the determined hunter throws open the door before he can finish. The office thermostat must be on the fritz. Grayson can't help but shiver. A booming voice interrupts the silence as the Arctic hunter utters a "whoa" in front of Zane's desk. Isn't this snow velvet? Don't touch it! Grayson rushes forward, pushing away the hunter's finger before it brushes against the delicate flower. You know what it is? Of course I do. It's rare stuff even in the Arctic. It only grows on the northern cliffs of Mount Eternal. Not just anyone can go there. But that's where you can find the cleanest snow. Something's been happening in the mountains lately, though. The wildlife is practically extinct. It makes me wonder if Glacierface got some kind of hobby for saving pretty things. Chapter 5. A Long Night. After the Arctic hunter was discharged, This year's hunter data from the medical examination has been finally analyzed. Zane assigns Grayson the task of writing the report for the hunter's health data. Buried in the data, Grayson discovers a worrying trend. A large number of hunters are showing signs of type Y protocol syndrome, something more than the usual amount seen in previous years. This syndrome involves metaflux that hides in various organs and systems, with a long latency period and slow progression. By the time it's detached, it's often too late. There is currently no known cure. He flags this potential risk to the Hunters Association. Andrew from Data Analysis takes it all in stride. He politely replies that they'll tweak the algorithms based on these hunters' past missions to minimize the risks. Grayson can't help but think Andrew is a little too composed sometimes, especially after hearing him say, "This is all we can do for now." It hits a little too close to home. The night shift at the inpatient building is like a giant circulatory system. Blood and breath move silently through the halls. Souls slumber in the small white cubes lining the corridors. Grayson feels like he's gone adrift, a lone white blood cell wandering a weary body. And the only beacon in the night? Zane's office, of course. That ever-vigilant lighthouse keeper guards the shores of life. Does he even feel the weight, the helplessness? Lost in thought, Grayson pushes open the office door. Light spills from the computer screen, his gaze drawn to the snow velvet on the desk as he approaches. This flower. Bending down, Grayson sees the snowball-like buds that Zane saved. The plant had started to bloom, but now it's drooping, the stem twisted and shrinking against the white porcelain. A single wilted petal falls and lands on the black ice crystals nestled in the pot. He remembers the pristine white snow used to be there. "Dr. Zane?" The cold computer light casts an unsettling glow over the scene. It inexplicably reminds him of the frigid tent they were in a few weeks back. And it was morning, yet the light seemed to have been filtered through a thick black veil. Drowsy and disoriented, he vaguely remembers a faint voice. It was a conversation with Dr. Zane that lingers just out of reach. The sterile office gloom makes him come to his senses, and Grayson searches for Zane. He takes in the scattered case files on the desk and the chair that's facing the door. It's a scene that screams of a hurried exit. An emergency surgery? Before panic thoughts overwhelm Grayson's mind, the office door opens with a click. Zane enters, rubbing his knuckles against his brow. I was passing by and decided to walk in. Dr. Zane, your flower." A harsh chill seems to emanate from Zane as he approaches the desk. His hand reaches out to the wilted snow velvet. He hesitates, his hand remaining suspended in mid-air as if held back by an invisible force. "It seems it's beyond saving." Zane gathers the case files and talks with Grayson about the checkups tonight. The conversation drifts to the hunter Grayson's been crashing on. "She said if the worst case scenario happens and someone needs to perform CPR, even if it means breaking her ribs, and her heart stops for 6 minutes and they don't give up, she wants it to be me." Zane offers a knowing smile. They both understand the unspoken question of what lies beyond those 6 minutes. "Dr. Zane, when we declare someone gone, in the eyes of their family, are we guardian angels or the Grim Reaper?" It's an unanswered question that hangs in the air. Zane can't help but glance at the desk. A few fragile petals of the snow velvet fall, only with its tiny heart still desperately clinging to life amidst the black ice crystals. World Underneath 5. No Morning. Complete. World Underneath 10. Mischief. 2046. Early Spring. Good evening, listeners. We're talking to you live on Combat Zone FM. I'm your host. The armored truck veers off onto a deserted road under the moonlight. The signal fades in and out, and the vehicle's radio crackles. Let's talk about ambushes tonight. Linton, the driver, steps on the gas. The moving truck gradually picks up speed, its cabin swaying and creaking as if on its last legs. He glances at the door leading to the back of the vehicle. The curtain is drawn and obscures the interior. It's quiet, and nothing seems amiss. At least, that's what he tells himself. His job is just to drive. The cargo back there is under the direct supervision of Eva's researchers. It's none of his business. He's been doing this for years without incident. Tonight, however, is different. Maybe it's the pitch-black surroundings and the quiet road, or perhaps it's the violent swaying of the truck and its bone-chilling creaks. Whatever the reason, Linton can't shake off this uneasy feeling. To drown it, he reaches out and turns up the radio. Here's the first rule for a successful ambush. Conceal your strengths. Just as the radio host finishes speaking, a young, amused voice responds beside Linton's ear. Well, he's not wrong. Linton's heart nearly stops. He slams on the brakes. The inertia throws them forward, and the person behind him playfully lunges at Linton. A cold, sharp metal blade is pressed against his collar and thus his neck. You want to live? I'll give you 5 minutes. Run! The young man's voice is cheerfully playful, reminiscent of a child taunting caged animals at a zoo. It would be infuriating if Linton weren't paralyzed with fear. He glances back to see the door to the cargo area is wide open. A nauseating stench of blood wafts out. Inside, a few motionless researchers are drenched in crimson. They are clearly beyond help. In the center of the compartment, 2 sets of restraints that should have secured a person have been cut open. The escapee now crouches beside him, his blade brandished. Only one thought races through Linton's mind. Run. He stumbles into an alley. It's so dark that not even the moon casts its light there. He crouches behind a large dumpster, his heart pounding so violently that he swears he can hear his nerves screaming. Time's up! I hope you found a good spot! Footsteps echo at the alley's entrance and are accompanied by the young man's cheerful laughter. Linton swallows, hugging his knees and willing himself to become inconspicuous like a discarded piece of trash. Through a small gap, he peeks out. He sees a slender figure, tall for his age, moving with unnervingly carefree steps as he searches and talks. If it weren't for the shining blade in his hand and the blood staining his clothes, Linton could almost believe this was just some harm-free game of hide-and-seek. Tap, tap, tap. The sound of footsteps on pavement fades into the distance. Linton allows himself to breathe and shakily stands up. Something moves in his periphery, but when he turns to look, there's nothing but darkness. It's over, Linton reassures himself. Not quite, the voice chuckles. The laugh is like a cold hand tapping Linton's shoulder. His legs give way, and he tumbles as he turns. Terrified, he stares at the figure emerging from the shadows. But I heard you. Walk away? The young man grins, seemingly in high spirits. Your ears must not be working. I never left. Impossible. Terror floods Linton's mind. Without thinking, he scrambles to his feet and dashes to the unobstructed exit. Not so fast. You didn't think it'd be that easy, did you? Another figure suddenly appears and blocks Linton's last escape route. Linton finally understands what's happening. Two individuals with identical faces have him cornered from both sides. They wear the same sly grins as they fiddle with their blades in perfect unison. Allow me to do the introductions. I'm Luke, and the one behind you is my shadow, Kieran. We were going to let you off the hook, but someone snatched on us to the guards when we tried to escape last time. That was you, right? Linton breaks into a cold sweat. No, it wasn't. I just... Okay, save your excuses. Kieran, holding a blade, rests his cold hand on Linton's shoulder again, which sends another shiver down his spine. People will say anything when they're begging for their lives. One of the researchers told us how sorry they felt for us. You think we'll believe that? Luke, do you want to do the honors, or shall I? I'll do it. Any last words? On second thought, don't bother. I'm not really in the mood to listen. Kieran sits cross-legged in the filthy alley, resting his chin on his hand, as he watches Luke pin Linton against the wall and press the blade to his throat. In the darkest hours of the night, the spurting blood vanishes, and so the final cry of a life on death's door is swallowed by the darkness. Monozygotic twin comparative test record. Subject ID 808. Subject names Luke, Kieran. Age 16. Experimental side effects log. Subjects mutually influence each other's visual, pain, and auditory senses. Here are examples of this phenomenon. 1. The subject Luke can see images within Kieran's field of vision, and vice versa. 2. The subjects Luke and Kieran can experience the same level of pain at the same time. 3. Evaluation results. After the protocol's exposure, both subjects show rejection reactions. A transformation occurring within 3 months is highly possible. Comprehensive risk assessment far exceeds standard values. Subjects are to be transferred to the disposal site for termination. Notes: the disposal site is adjacent to the N109 zone. Researchers must complete the firearms request form and collect weapons for self-defense before leaving. Transformation within 3 months. That's a fancy way of saying we won't live past 3 months. Kieran wipes the blood from his face and hands Luke a dirt-smudged document from the ground. After skimming it, Luke shrugs and nonchalantly scratches his chin. It's just a prediction, right? They might be wrong. Didn't someone outlive their estimate before? The younger one of the 303 twins? 5 something? I can't remember. Whatever. It doesn't matter. We finally made it out, and if we only have 3 months left... Luke leans against the armored truck. He raises an eyebrow. Then his eyes widen as he looks at Kieran, and he pounds his fist on the hood excitedly. What is it? Based on that reaction alone, Kieran knows his brother's mind is probably concocting another scheme to turn the world upside down. Since we're on borrowed time anyway, why don't we go out with a bang? How about doing something epic in these last 3 months? Eager, Kieran leans in. Despite Luke's ideas always ending up as messes he has to clean up, The prospect of doing something epic still holds an irresistible allure. What do you have in mind? Check this out! Luke points to the name N109 Zone in the notes section of the document. Do you remember Silas? The guy the researchers mentioned before? The protocol smuggler? Yeah, that ruthless boss of Anakinus? Exactly! Excited, Luke hops onto the hood of the truck. Let's kill him! Nothing can be more epic than that, right? Kieran bursts into a fit of laughter. What if he's 100 times stronger than us? If we try to kill him, wouldn't that be even more fun? They exclaim in unison. But Kieran quickly suppresses his bubbling excitement. He tries to be sensible. Wouldn't it be easier for Silas to kill us than for us to kill him? So what? Luke sits cross-legged, the enthusiasm in his voice gradually fading and being replaced with calm. Have you seen the ones who transformed? I'd rather get killed and die early than become something like that. After a long silence, Kieran nods. He crumples up the document and tosses it behind him. True. We should count ourselves lucky if we get killed by him. You ready? Let's go. In the depths of night, the two brothers walk side by side down a path that leads a person away from all light. It lazily stretches into the horizon. I sure hope Silas turns out to be an interesting guy. Chapter 2. Rumor. Here's the second rule of a successful ambush. Know your enemy. It's been 14 days since Luke and Kieran arrived in the N109 zone. For the past 2 weeks, they heard all sorts of rumors about Silas. I heard Silas has been in cahoots with Wanderers for ages. He's just waiting for the right moment to blow up the N109 zone. Well, they say Silas has a permanent luxury suite at Solon Hotel. The walls are stuffed with the bodies of his enemies. It's haunted at night. Oh, I heard Silas is the son of that stock market tycoon from Lincoln City. Really? Someone told me Silas is the stock market tycoon himself. Kieran doubles over from laughing, but his hands never stop crafting darts. So, did you find out what Silas actually looks like? They say he doesn't have a fixed appearance. He wears a new face every day. No one has ever seen his real appearance. Luke can't help but chuckle at his own words. Before he can finish laughing, Kieran chimes in. Well, I heard he's quite young, but he has to drink the blood of teenagers every day just to maintain his human form. Laughter fills the small house they've claimed as their temporary home once more. Most buildings in the N109 zone are renovated from previously derelict structures. In the streets where neon lights from the bustling streets don't reach, it's easy to find a vacant space that's not too dilapidated. It's perfect for 2 unexpected visitors new to the area. But Luke and Kieran aren't the only new faces. Every day, people like them flood into the N109 zone. Lately, their neighbors have been multiplying. Some disappear after a few encounters, never to be seen again. Others schedule a get-together one night and fail to show only for the twins to learn the next day that they died 2 blocks over. The N109 zone is like a beast lurking in the darkness. Its maw is wide open to devour everyone who stumbles in. Here, this is just a matter of time. The only way to cheat it is to find the master of the savage beast, and his name is Silas. In the 2 weeks here, amid all these far-fetched rumors, everyone seems to agree on only one thing. Kill him, replace him, or become his subordinate. Last night, someone told me Silas is celebrating his 80th birthday today. The party's at... The ice maker in the room suddenly interrupts Luke's dubious rumor. It's the only appliance in the house that still works. Luke waits next to it. He scoops up 2 cubes as they fall and pops them in his mouth. He turns back. You want some ice? Kieran waves his hand. Ice reminds me of when I got beat up. I'll pass. Laughter fills the room as Luke tosses an ice cube at Kieran before plopping onto the couch and crossing his legs. Serves you right. Years ago, during their first escape attempt, Kieran had gotten into a scuffle with the guards and ended up with a mouthful of blood. 2 weeks in solitary confinement couldn't break him. He endured the pain in stubborn silence and refused all medical treatment. In the adjacent cell, Luke yelled at him. Next time you decide to play tough guy before the medical staff, could you maybe ask me beforehand? I'm also in pain. During that time, Luke developed his love for ice. It was to initially numb the pain that wasn't his own, and it later developed into a thrill for the cold. Kieran, after his 2-week confinement, took the lesson to heart. The day his punishment ended, he exacted his revenge with a dart he made. After that, crafting darts became a hobby. It brought him joy. Remember Sherman? He's the guy we met at Elysium. Kieran quickly shakes off the cold and picks up where he left off. Yeah, the peacock. How could I forget? Anyone who could strut around the N109 zone like that and still breathe must have some serious support. Luke crunches the ice in his mouth. You think Silas is behind him? What are we waiting for? Let's find him. He's about to bolt out the door when Kieran, as if he's done this a million times, grabs his collar and pulls him back. He presses the finished darts into Luke's hand before releasing him. Now we can go. I've been tailing Sherman for a while. Anna Kindness is about to attend an important business meeting. Silas might be there. We should check it out. Luke pockets the darts and pushes his slightly overgrown hair to the back. When he opens the door, he notices Kieran tying his hair back into a short ponytail. After thinking for a bit, Luke ties his hair back in the same style. Nighttime, on the rooftop across from Solon Hotel. In the luxury suite where the deal is being discussed, the curtains are half drawn. Through the gap, a hand with elegant, pronounced knuckles is visible. It idly taps on the leather armrest. A velvet box is humbly presented to the hand's owner. The individual pauses before leisurely waving his fingers. Someone with a deferential demeanor takes the box away. Although the hanging curtains obscure the faces of everyone in the room, it's not difficult to discern who bears the name Silas. It's as legendary as it is dangerous based on that interaction. Across the street, and perched on the edge of the rooftop, 2 figures watched him as if it were a movie. Luke, his eyes alight with excitement, points out something. Silas isn't carrying a weapon. Isn't he afraid of someone making a move? His question is swiftly answered. The deferential attitude fails to save the life of Silas's business partner. Silas strikes so fast that even the rooftop audience can't follow his movement. His actions are a blur, but they see a terrified body yanked to the window by an invisible force. A mist swallows it. When it dissipates, nothing remains of the man. Oh, Silas doesn't need to carry a weapon because he's a weapon himself. No one in the luxurious suite dares to move. The deal's participants and Silas's underlings bow and lower their heads. Silas finally stands up, and Luke and Kieran see his face. He looks indifferent, as if the scene before him isn't his doing. The ceiling light casts ominous shadows across his features as he turns. He sweeps his gaze across the street. The 2 brothers, spectators a few seconds ago, suddenly become alert. Their bodies react faster than their minds. They propel themselves off the ledge and into the shadows with lightning-fast speed. Did he see us? I doubt it. We're so far away from him. Is his eyesight that good? An inexplicable feeling sends a chill down their spines. After a moment, they cautiously peek out from the edge of the rooftop. Silas has already left. Did he look bored to you? Luke breaks the silence. You mean when he dealt with that guy, or when he left? Both. Kieran hadn't particularly paid attention to Silas's demeanor. Knowing Luke would keep an eye on it, he noticed something else. From the moment Silas entered the room, it was as if an invisible barrier had formed around him. No one dared to cross the unseen line to stand near him. It remained that way until the very end. He had entered alone, and he had left alone. Kieran can't help but muse out loud. Is there someone who can get close to Silas? After 2 weeks of gathering intel, he had expected Silas to be surrounded by people. Now, it seems they couldn't be further from the truth. No allies dare to stand beside him, and no enemies can stand against him. Just like the expression on his face, everything seems boring to him. No one, Luke and Kieran declare in unison. The thought of Silas living such a tedious life for a long time while still having countless years ahead of him stirs a flicker of pity in their hearts. Then again, if they kill him, that's a different story. Chapter 3. Trick. This is the third rule of a successful ambush. Exploit your advantage when the enemy least expects it. For Luke and Kieran, their advantage lies in their sameness. Identical faces, identical builds, identical movements. They're almost the same person. It's enough to lower their opponent's guard and make them believe there's only one person. The trick has never failed them. From the streets they grew up in to Eva's research facility, it continues to work in the N109 zone. Whether it's purchasing necessities from someone who increases prices after glancing at Luke, fending off strangers who try to rob Kieran of their supplies, or slipping past a merchant into a protocol warehouse. Just like their name suggests, one is always in the light, and the other is in the shadows. One plays a conspicuous target, while the other lurks in the dark, ready to strike. The side effects from the experiment have become their strengths. When they act together, they're even more coordinated than one person. On Wednesday night, the concert hall in the N109 zone's bustling district will host a grand performance. At Mr. R's invitation, an orchestra was rushed over here after their international tour. For the first time, the hall's pipe organ sheds its dusty protective cover. It's not an important event, but after the hall manager repeatedly refused those willing to pay exorbitant prices for a seat, this performance and the mysterious Mr. R have become a hot topic in the N109 zone. In a corner unnoticed by all, two inconspicuous insects quietly enter the concert hall. Kieran is looking at two very different scenes. He crouches to hide behind the auditorium seats. Not far away, in the center of the space, sits Silas. Kieran can only see Silas's back. The vast concert hall stands empty save for this lone figure. And his question resurfaces. Is there someone who can get close to Silas? Yet Silas just sits there. He's resting his eyes and waiting for the concert to begin like a normal person would. Kieran knows the concert start will inevitably be delayed because of the other scene he's looking at. Through Luke's eyes, he sees the dressing room where the impeccably dressed conductor and orchestra members are bound one by one. Sheet music has been stuffed in their mouths to muffle any cries. After his hard work, Luke dusts himself off and bends down to retrieve a fallen dart. These pack quite a punch. The protocols really do make a difference. He's in awe. The protocol makes the dart feel a little awkward to hold, but it's tolerable. Luke shakes his hand and checks himself in the mirror. Something's missing. He yanks the conductor's jacket off and puts it on. Should I go on stage with this? Their ability to converse effortlessly even when apart is perhaps the most useful side effect. It's a little too big. Try that violinist's outfit, the one from the third row. Oh, this is a lot better. Really? Wait. Luke takes a step towards the stage before stopping. He turns back to the dressing room and picks up an ice cube from the wine bucket on the table. He pops it in his mouth and crunches it. Now I'm ready. Just before he goes on stage, he hears Kieran's voice again. Before we do this, any last words? Nope, I have nothing to say. It's pointless anyway. They're still going to die. They might as well save the energy and wear a smile instead. Let's do this. The lights in the hall dim as the performance is scheduled to begin at this time. The curtain slowly rises, and a spotlight switches on with a click. Luke is on stage within a few quick strides and stops before Silas. There's no music, but Silas doesn't open his eyes. It's as if he anticipated this. Luke's excitement grows. His hand, initially reaching for the dart, changes course on a whim. He grabs two small circular devices hidden at his waist and flings them at Silas. Mind if I borrow 3 minutes of your time? Let me have a go at killing you before the concert starts. His words echo through the hall. The small projectiles hurled at Silas are suspended in the soft mist around him. The person who stopped them with his power hasn't even lifted a finger. Luke grins. You might want to open your eyes. It could get messy, even for Onakindus' boss man. As soon as he closed his mouth, the spheres, squeezed by the black-red mist, suddenly burst. With a loud splash, water drenches the seats around Silas. Silas opens his eyes, his finger on his temple. Luke shrugs. I told you. What's your motive? Silas's nonchalant question echoes throughout the concert hall. My reason for wanting to kill you, Let's see. Luke rubs his hands in his face and pretends to be deep in thought. In the N109 zone, a lot of people want Silas dead. For profit, for revenge, or because they're weak. He wonders if a spur-of-the-moment decision would pique the curiosity of this man who leads Onakindus. But he decides to track it out, at least for the show. That way he can buy time for Kieran, who's moving stealthily through the shadows. As their conversation continues, Kieran silently positions himself, now directly behind Silas. He holds several darts between his fingers. They're aimed at Silas's carotid artery. Through Luke's eyes, he monitors Silas's movements and confirms the man's attention is fixed on Luke, who's still fumbling for an answer. He's oblivious to Kieran's presence. Kieran bends his knees and prepares to lunge, and then, before he moves, he hears Silas's derisive chuckle. If you want to kill me, at least use a method that's less boring. From a distance, Kieran senses Luke's body go rigid on stage. He quickly realizes why Luke reacted that way. It's because of him. At some point, 2 wisps of black-red mist have enveloped his body. Although they looked easy to shake off, they pinned him in place. He can't move. How did Silas notice him? Restraining one of them effortlessly subdues the other. The owner of this power closes his eyes once more. The twins are then lifted in the air and hurled out of the concert hall, one after the other. The hall's doors slam shut, the lingering echo and composed mockery of their failed attempt. Huh? twins scratch their heads before checking their necks, arms, and legs. They stare blankly at the concert hall's opulent chandelier before reality finally sinks in. Silas didn't kill us. Still shocked, Kieran sits up reluctantly. That's the first time we've ever been caught. Luke, still sprawled in the position he landed, tugs at Kieran's arm. But did you hear what he said? What? He called us boring. Chapter 4. Thrill Seeker. The fighting arena in the N109 zone lurks behind the facade of a 5-story building with neon lights. An oversized ring that surpasses expectations will greet you once you enter. Spectator seats climb the surrounding walls, and the highest one is perched almost perpendicular to the ring. At first glance, it looks like a fortress or lair of some ferocious beast. Noticing the members of Onykinus frequenting the place lately, Luke and Kieran tear down a recruitment flyer plastered outside and knock on the door. Get lost! We're not hiring. You're as skinny as a rail. I bet you two would die 100 times before landing a single punch. The door is slammed shut. The burly arena owner glares at them through a small window before stomping downstairs. Kieran chuckles. A rail? You're scarecrows at least. The next morning, Luke and Kieran are back and knock on the door to the arena. The owner answers, cursing under his breath. He freezes. The arena's fighters, mysteriously missing since dawn, are sprawled on the ground, clutching their stomachs and whimpering. The two young men he turned away yesterday grins. So, about your staff shortage. The reason for Onykinus' frequent visits soon becomes clear. On Wednesday night, the members of Onykinus storm into the arena with one goal: to take this place down. As the two groups clash in the arena with their weapons drawn, the leader of Onykinus materializes in the place with the best view. He surveys the chaos below unperturbed. Amidst the mayhem, the twins, having already shed their fighter outfits, move behind him. They exchange a glance. Then the two get down on one knee. Here's the fourth rule of a successful ambush. Swiftly abandon flawed tactics and use new strategies to confuse your opponent. Boss, we want to be your followers! Noticing Silas's silence, the two continue to speak. We'll be your blades, boss. We'll handle all the dirty work you can't be bothered with. Whether it's assassinations or heists, or pranks and scheming, we'll take care of it, boss. Our loyalty is yours. And... Approaching footsteps interrupt their unsolicited oaths. The tips of Silas's shoes appears in Luke's and Kieran's vision, and intimidation washes over them. Kieran looks at Luke from the corner of his eye. He sees the barely contained excitement in his brother's gaze. What will Silas do next? Luke is waiting for it, and Kieran realizes his own expression must mirror his twins'. From the moment they were born, they were the same. They don't need mirrors. Simply looking at each other is enough to know their own faces. I have no use for trash, Silas states. A knife clatters to the ground between them. Prove yourselves. They look up and meet Silas's stern gaze. Below, gunfire erupts and blood splatters. The chaotic battle beckons. In less than half an hour, the gleaming knife is stained a dark red. The twins present it to Silas. Well, the trash is on the ground now. Do you want us to do anything else? The sounds of combat have turned into barely audible pleas for mercy. In the vast arena, only Silas, Luke, and Kieran remain standing. The hands holding the knife slightly tremble from excitement, not from fear. Fresh blood drips from the blade's tip. Their palms, their nearly identical faces, it stains the once clean spectator walkways. The knife's cold glint reflects in Silas's eyes. He tilts his chin up and slightly and smirks. Now use each other's lives to prove yourselves. So that's what it was. Kieran hears laughter echoing in his mind. Luke is laughing, and he's laughing too. So that's what it was. Silas is also looking for some fun. They've lost count of how many times they've fought like this. Because of the side effects, their senses are bound. Fighting each other during heated arguments no longer relieves their anger. Instead, it's a form of self-torture. But they soon discovered that fighting could earn them many things. Painkillers, sedatives, and if the fight was severe enough, even a pass on the next day's trials. So, despite their reluctance, they became experts at fighting each other. Silas sits in the spectator seats. He watched the twins fight for the knife with an amused expression. Their faces are fierce, their movements swift and precise. Only when they draw near each other is there a barely perceptible hesitation, a quick exchange of glances as they try to come up with a strategy. Silas props up his chin on his hand. He can sense the brothers' true intentions. These young beasts are putting on a show. They carefully hide their fangs and claws while waiting for the right moment to throw the knife. Little do they know that their target has already grown wary of such tricks. Still, Silas stays in his seat. The persistence of these weaklings suddenly piqued his curiosity. He wants to see how this will play out. That's when the unexpected happens. The sharp sound of crystals piercing skin fills the air. The twin holding the knife goes limp, crying out in pain as he collapses. Like snakes, black crystals crawl up his face from within his body and reach his eyes. In an instant, the other twin, seemingly unharmed, also falls to his knees because of the unbearable agony. Their show falls apart and is replaced by the onset of transformation. Chapter 5. The End. The knife tumbles to the ground and stops at Silas's feet. He bends down to pick it up. A crystal-covered hand trembles as it desperately reaches for the blade. Silas smirks and hands it over. The person before him musters all his strength to aim the knife at his heart. He tries to push it in, but he hesitates and freezes as he notices his brother, who's bound to him, curl up into a ball because of their shared agony. These two are like marionettes tangled in invisible strings. When one transforms, the other feels inexplicable torment. Silas watches with keen interest. He wonders if this bond will remain unbroken even in the face of death. He knows this question now looms over them like a suffocating nightmare. He stays because he wants to know what they'll do. The knife's tip veers off by a few centimeters. Then, the twin slashes the knife upward. The crystals shatter, and blood splatters onto the spectator seats. The twin abandons the thought of ending his life and instantly violently gouges out the crystals. Silas slowly claps. At least you've got some guts. He lifts the knife again but is quickly intercepted by the other twin. Although he's unaffected by the transformation, he's forced to endure the pain due to their shared senses. Still, he grips his brother's hand. Don't worry about me. His voice lacks its usual lilt and is replaced by a chilling calm. Let me help you. I'll help you. The weight behind the word help is unmistakable. Its true meaning is unspoken but clearly understood. Okay. Luke and Kieran have never realized how loud a heartbeat could be until now. Perhaps this is the noise a person only hears at life's end. They come to the same conclusion while the one who didn't transform struggles to control the knife. Beside them, a fiend whispers, "If you do this, you won't survive either." "I'll die with him." That's his response to Silas. He takes a few deep breaths before flashing a sly grin. "I don't care anyway." "Is that so?" A wisp of black-red mist suddenly plunges into his twin's chest. A more intense pain immediately follows. The trembling now mixed with a fear they've never experienced before. It's the fear of dying. Silas intends to kill them this time. It feels as if a chunk of their chest is missing. Their limbs gradually numb, the cold blood building up in their throats. They shudder uncontrollably. At first, they manage to hide their terror, but as the mist grows sharper and touches their beating hearts. So, this is what death feels like. The feeling of being at death's door finally breaks their resolve. Fragmented pleas escape their lips. "No!" But the agony of their demise intensifies. Silas's towering figure blurs into a beast toying with its prey. Their internal organs feel violently constricted, their desperate desire to live drowning in pain. Panting, they spit out blood and raise their voices. "Stop!" "I thought you had a death wish." "We don't." With a derisive snort, Silas opens his palm. The mist dissipates before it claims their lives. The once bright room is plunged into darkness. A strong force surrounds the twins and shatters the growing black crystals. A ringing persists in Luke and Kieran's ears, but the pain vanishes in heartbeat. "In the N109 zone, dying is easy," Silas says as he leaves, his tone almost teasing. "Staying alive, well, that's the real proof of strength." Chapter 6. Twins. "Boss, we're not here to kill you this time." 2 weeks have passed, and Luke and Kieran once again stand before Silas. They fully recovered. One was never injured in the first place, and the other's wounds, a result of gouging out the crystals, have healed. There are only grotesque scars on his face and body. Otherwise, they appear healthy. "We genuinely want to be your followers." Emphasizing the statement, they drop to one knee. Silas is slightly irritated. "Drop the act." After the twins exchange glances, Luke looks up with a sly grin. "Actually, we're curious to see if anyone can kill you, boss. Since we couldn't do it, we want to stick around and see if someone else can." They widen their eyes soon after. If they're not mistaken, Silas flashed a cold smile tinged with anticipation. It's an expression they've never seen before. But the smile vanishes so quickly that they wonder if they've imagined it. After a moment of hesitation, Luke lowers his head again and speaks in a respectful tone. "Boss, that Sherman guy is suspicious. We'll keep an eye on him for you." Bowing his head, Kieran adds, "We know his address, his usual spots, and his contacts. We can report to you every 2 weeks. Go then." These words constitute the only command they receive. "Understood, boss." When they finally stand, they realize Silas has already vanished. As they exit the base, the streets of the N109 zone remain as sunless as ever. Passing a glass wall, they pause to look at their reflections. It's been years since they used a mirror, since they've always used each other. It's an extra perk of being identical twins. But now, that's no longer possible. I still think twins should look like twins. Luke pulls out the backpack he's been carrying and fishes out 2 masks. He tosses one to Kieran and puts the other on himself. I got 303 to make these. Just found out he set up a workshop in the N109 zone. Try it. Kieran examines the mask on his face and puts it... Kieran examines the mask in his hands and puts it up to his face. It's a perfect fit. He puts it on and playfully taps Luke with the long beak of his mask. Why are we even wearing these in the first place? No reason, but with them, we're identical again. It's noon. The 2 young men walk side by side down a path that shuns all light. They stretch lazily. What do you think his smile meant? Can someone actually kill him? I'm guessing that's a no. Yeah, I don't think so either. World Underneath 10. Mischief. Complete.